Yes, y'all, it's going down right now. Episode 190 of the 22 Shots and Moods and Horror podcast is coming at you live. I am your host, the podcast hunter G, the toxic offender, the ill-mented funky child, also known as Moods. Yeah. And of course, I have my DOS 22 bullets in the house with me. First up, we have the boy that has spent all week contemplating life because all the family videos are closing down for good. Ellen Degenerate, also known as Jeremy the Jew. And last up, we have the official, unofficial, part-time, full-time host of this podcast. The still-hating Canadian motherfucker he always is. The penis prowler, Mr. Parker, also known as Dave. What's going on, guys?
I think you forgot one of the most important things in the intro.
JP's not here?
That 87 rider has made a return to YouTube comments.
Oh, I actually thought you were going to say that JP's not here. Of course, from the intro, you guys know JP's not here this week because he totally bitched out and said, quote, unquote, as you guys can't see me right now, but I'm doing the finger thing, saying that he has to work. And that's only because I know for a fucking fact that he does not want to review these anime films tonight.
Yeah, he bails out on musicals and anime. Like, what the hell?
Yep. Just like I'm going to bail out on that Paranormal Activity show because I have to work.
Right. God, I was thinking about doing the exact same thing myself. No,
you can't. I already bailed out.
No, I'll definitely, I'll take one for the team on that one. I honestly got to say that's probably the show I'm.
What happened if you like them more than you think?
Well, I don't know if that's going to happen because from what I remember from the first one, I actually really loathed it. I mean, it was years ago. I saw it when it first came out. What was the year it came out? 2007? 7? So, it was 13 years ago. I mean, definitely things have changed, but there's so many of them. And what is it? We got to review 8 of them?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of Paranormal Activity films. I assume it's going to get very redundant and
I'm just curious to see if there's like continuity and all that stuff because I've only seen the first one too. So.
I heard the Mark ones is pretty good.
I heard that there is a little bit of continuity, but who knows? We really don't know until we dive into those. But I mean, that's not coming up for a little bit. So yeah, I think it might just be. Oh, actually, who else is on that show?
Lacey Lou.
Oh, Lacey's on that show. Okay, so it'll be JP. Oh, that's 4. Okay.
It's good to have somebody that's gotta like them though, because I think she's a fan of those movies, so she wouldn't want to be on the show otherwise. I don't think I'd have any valuable input. I'd just be like, I don't like it. It's stupid.
I feel like
you know what I mean?
I feel like I'm gonna be that party crasher too. It's like this is fucking dumb. Jeez.
Well, why don't they just leave the house? I don't like ghosts. Dave, it's not a ghost. It's a possession.
Yeah.
Ah!
Oh, man. But yeah, Jeremy bringing up, the return of Matt 87 Rider. So I didn't even realize, for the people that, have followed my channel for years and years and other people's YouTube channels, you might be familiar with the channel name. This guy's like the ultimate troll.
He's the OG troll.
Like, this guy has just trolled everybody. Like, he's very much known in the horror community as the troll who actually made videos. So there was a face to the name in the troll. It was very odd. He was one of a kind, kind of, but brutal. Yeah. He would say the most brutal things to people. Anyways, haven't really heard the name in a long time. And of course, I get this comment a couple weeks ago, and I actually posted on the Facebook group page. And it said something on the lines of, I hope this guy's gone forever, douchebag, or fucking... what do they call arrogant douchebag nozzle? And I was like, okay, whatever. I mean, I accept all his comments. It's not a big deal. Anyways, so I clicked on the name and I was like, oh, this motherfucker has 2 videos. So I clicked on it and I was like, it is Matt 87 Rider. And he looks like he gained 100 pounds and he's doing the weirdest fucking shit, man, in his videos. I'm like, this guy's Peter in the flesh. Yep. Like, this is another Peter. But the fact of the matter is this dude's back still trolling us. Unbelievable. I love the fact that this guy is back still doing this. It just gives us something to talk about. It makes everybody laugh and shit. And it's amazing. It's really, really amazing.
Everybody, dude, because he's like 10 years old. It's like, it's crazy.
Dude, this guy was officially probably the first like kind of known troll to me on YouTube. I started YouTube in 2012 and within 3-4 months I was getting troll comments from this guy and I was like, who the fuck is this? And anyways, I'm like baffled that this dude actually made videos. And I'm like, holy shit, crazy. But yeah, 8 years later and this guy is still doing it. I'm like, he must really want my cock, if he's still coming around. That's crazy.
You remember the South American guy that used to leave comments? I don't remember. I just block that guy because he was always a prick. He'd always leave comments like you'd review Pumpkinhead or something. He'd be like, Pumpkinhead's barely average at best.
Yeah, I think I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember seeing his comments on your videos, and he used to comment on mine every once in a while too. And
I blocked him.
Yeah.
And then the best troll of all time, who actually became better, like he's actually cool now, was Lev Nemkin. Remember Lev Nemkin?
Oh my god, yeah.
He's the best. Lev Nemkin was actually the best though. Like he was the funnest.
Yeah, I mean, there's some trolls that leave some pretty funny comments, but then I've had trolls in the past that have said like just the most hilarious shit ever, and then they leave a legit comment one day. I'm like, hey man, great review, it was awesome. And then I'm like, really, that's it? And then they'll go back to being a total dick, and I'm like, man, you fucking suck, your opinion sucks. And I'm like, dude, okay, right? And then they'll go back to saying a nice comment. I'm like, these trolls are so fucked in the head, man. But you gotta love them. You absolutely gotta love the trolls. I mean, it keeps me motivated. It keeps the fire in my asshole, you know, when I'm not shitting it out.
Especially when they keep coming back, you know?
Yeah.
I don't really care anymore.
I never really did because, I mean, there's a lot of, we've talked about this before on YouTube, and there's a lot of YouTubers that quit YouTube because they couldn't handle the just bullshit, you know, negative comments and stuff and the trolls. And I'm like, guys, who cares? I mean,
you gotta go to work today. Why do you care about them fucking trolls?
Right? I mean, it's just a name on a fucking screen. I mean, there's no face to it. They're not even real people. You're putting yourself out there, and you're a real person. They're just people are gonna do this shit. They're gonna say the most ruthless bullshit because they're keyboard warriors and shit. And you know, you learn at a very young, you know, in my YouTube career, you know, quote unquote, that not to take that shit serious. You just don't. I will fuck with trolls. I will respond and just get into arguments with them because it's fucking hilarious to me. I love doing it, but at the end of the day, I'm not offended. I don't care if someone calls me every name in the book. It doesn't matter. In fact, I mean, if I cared, why would I post it? Why would I talk about it, you know? And,
I just say cool or something. I'm like, cool, or thanks for the great input, or something real fucking stupid.
Right. Just get real
Kill 'em with
sarcastic
kindness.
with them.
Or just say K after they write like 3 paragraphs. K.
A lot of times I'll just respond with LOL, and some of the trolls get so pissed. They're just like, really? You're just gonna laugh? And then they'll respond with something even worse, and I'm just like, ha ha ha, and they'll just keep going, right? Fucking just
Or
fuels
just say
it.
too long didn't read.
Right,
Too
yeah.
long didn't read. That's the best.
Right, that's awesome.
Or people do you mad, bro.
Mad, with a question mark, you space R mad, bro.
Dude,
And then leave it with a
notorious for
period
that.
after.
I'm notorious for doing that. You mad? Bro? I love that meme of Cameron with you mad. Right, that shit just cracks me up, man. But yeah, if I could post memes on YouTube comments, I would all day. That would just be. That would be fantastic.
I understand if I'm being rude and say something out of the line on a movie and somebody calls me out like, hey man, you should know. I'm like, I understand. I'm not above critique or criticism. Like I'm talking about other people's shit. They can talk about me too. They're like, man, you need to fix your lighting or you need to do this. I'll be like, thank you. You're probably right.
Yeah, I mean, that's critical. You know, that's constructive criticism, and you know that's perfectly fine and stuff. But the most annoying thing with when you make a video, at least for myself, is people be like, oh man, this list is all wrong, man. You have this one at the wrong number. And I'm like, guys, I always tell people, and sometimes I even leave it in the description. I'm like, guys, I don't make best of lists or top lists. I make favorite lists. This is just how I like the films. They're probably, if I was to rank them from best to where it'd be ranked totally different, lists would be totally different. But people just don't understand that. And it's like, you get all those comments like, man, this list is fucking horrible. This movie should be at number 10 and this should be number 1. I'm like, guys, I just don't
Well,
like
you
them
even
like
see
that.
it on the 91 show already. It's like people are like, why isn't this on your list? And it's like,
Is there who posted that?
Because we obviously didn't like it as much. And I mean, I
thought, just see it.
I thought
People
that we were
are
going to
like,
get a little bit more shit over the Silence of the Lambs, but I think we kind of explained it away. It's like, you know, I think most of us kind of agree that it's probably the best film of 91, but you know, for me liking it more than others, no, it doesn't fit there. So, I can't speak for Dave, obviously, but
91 is a year that like, there's a lot of movies I like. And I rate fairly high, but it's not like an 85 where there's like top 5s and 10s of
like
all-time
lots
favorite
of
movies
classics. There's no classics, really.
And that's
Silence
the thing.
is a classic.
And that's the
But
thing.
that's it.
Yeah,
I don't hold it to my heart like Day of the Dead or Eternally Dead or Demons or something.
Yeah, and I'm the same way with those movies too. It's like, but I mean, I think a lot of people kind of get it twisted a little bit. You know, they think our ratings are just kind of, you know, cemented in stone. Cemented in stone? What the fuck? Anyways,
Double cement.
double cemented. You know, solidified. You know, they're bona fide ratings. These the end of all ratings kind of thing. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we've kind of all agreed that, at least me and Dave have, that a lot of our ratings are based on subjectivity and objectivity. You know, it kind of balances itself out. And you know, if you were just going one or the other, the rating would be different. If I was just going straight objectivity, these movies would be, a different rating than the subject. I mean, so I kind of try to balance it out a little bit. And like a lot of people just base their ratings on entertainment value. I try to focus on a little bit of shit and what the film is. Like when I'm watching shot on video, I literally have a totally different rating scale for shot on video films because they're made on no budget. You can't compare, in which I don't like to compare movies anyways with ratings, but at the end of the day, you can't take this film and go, oh, this is, I can't put it in the same class as like The Resurrected, over fucking Wicked City. It just doesn't make sense to do that because this movie's worth $5 and this was like a $3 million movie. So
somebody be mad that I'm putting Redneck Zombies at an 8.5 or something.
Yeah.
And then I'll put
Moods put fucking Samurai Cop at a 10 out of 10.
And that's solely based on entertainment value. Honestly, if I was objectively reviewing that, that's probably like a 3 out of 10. But entertainment value, that shit makes me laugh through the whole movie. It's so fucking stupid. I love it. It's just so much fun. Did you guys even watch it?
No.
What, Samurai Cop? I've seen that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I still have never seen the sequel. I need to check out the sequel someday.
I feel like the sequel is going to be one of those movies made like 20 years too late where everybody making it's in on the joke now and they're like trying to placate to it and it's not funny. Like that Birdemic 2.
And that's pretty much exactly what happened with that movie too, because it was made all those years later. It's kind of like, it's kind of like Deadly Prey. Like Deadly Prey is legitimately one of my favorite low budget action films of all time. I can watch it shit all day. It's so much fucking
made Deadliest Prey, right?
And I still haven't I haven't brought myself to watch it. And I own the Blu-ray. I've had it for a long time. I've never seen it because I'm so scared to watch it. And it's because it's not going to ruin the first one for me. It's just because I love the first movie so much. I think it's legitimately one of the funnest action films. It's so ridiculous. It's this great low budget Rambo type. Oh, it's great. It's fucking awesome.
Is it like Return to Nukem High Volume 2 ruined Return to Nukem High Volume 1?
It didn't ruin it.
It didn't ruin it, but I will say it just feels like all the clippings from the first one were made into the second one. Like it just feels like nothing but leftovers and...
That's how all their sequels feel, though. Troma's like, we got one great movie. We're going to split it up and make 2 okay movies.
I mean, for myself, at least I got to watch it in a pretty interesting environment. I was at HorrorCon a couple years back, and they were actually doing a show in there. And of course, I'd waited 6 years for this because the first part was my favorite film of the year. It came out officially. And so I've been waiting, sitting on this. And, I was definitely disappointed by it. I enjoyed it for what it was, but at least I got to see it with like other people and it was kind of a cool environment. I was drinking beer the whole time and it was great. So that kind of made it a little bit more enjoyable. But oddly enough, I still haven't copped the Blu-ray because Troma shit is impossible to get in Canada now. It's ridiculous. I don't know
what was that?
Troma
dropped out for a second.
Oh, Troma stuff is really hard to get in Canada.
Really? It was expensive at first, and then it dropped down to like $12.99, and I just bought it.
Really? Fuck! I need to find somewhere to get it for cheap.
I think you can only get it on their website, right?
Yeah, but
their shipping is nonsense.
The Troma website, man, they legitimately charge like $25 for one Blu-ray to Canada. It's just not worth it. So.
The shipping to Canada is not as much as they say it is.
It actually isn't because I have a few people that sell me stuff and ship up here all the time, and like I'll look at the shipping prices on it and it's like $5.
It's like $9. Yeah, it's like $5 to $10.
Yeah, and so these places, pretty much everybody's charging like $15 to $25. So they're making money off it, but who's fucking paying $25 for one movie? That's like ridiculous. But
yeah, you gotta order.
Lloyd Kaufman.
Yeah, I was very disappointed with what's the store down in Tampa? Grindhouse Video. When they first opened, man, their shipping to Canada was phenomenal. It was like $5-7, whatever. I was buying a bunch of shit from there, and then it went up a little bit, and then it went up again, and then it went up, and now it's like it's just through the roof. Obviously with the COVID stuff, but even before that, I stopped buying from there because it just wasn't affordable anymore, right?
Yeah.
So unfortunate, but it's the way it goes. Diabolic did the same thing. They're shipping. I started buying from Diabolic, I think must have been 2011 maybe is when I first started. It was before I got on YouTube, and yeah, man, like their shipping was phenomenal. And it's obviously had to go up over the years and stuff, but it's gotten to the point where I think it's $18 for the first Blu-ray. So
fuck.
Yeah, so
it ain't even worth it.
It's not. And this is my thing I love about Vinegar Syndrome, because they actually ship out of Canada. And so, obviously over a certain amount, it's free shipping, but they have a $10 flat for whatever you're buying. Yeah, and So obviously with the new package, it was like $130, whatever. It got free shipping, but they charge $10 and it comes in like 3 days. It's great.
And also, they have a bunch of other shit too that they sell that's not just Vinegar Syndrome now.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that. Did they acquire and they're putting out all the AGFA titles now?
Yeah, they don't actually. They just put them out.
They just buy them. They just buy like the stock and.
No, not they actually AGFA. They actually are the ones who are distributing them, but they don't they're not included in the deal. And neither is Fun City. That's another label they have under there.
Yeah, I noticed that because I copped I put the new package, the October package, which I will say is phenomenal, like amazing. Cemetery Terror. I'm like, what the fuck? But I looked down and I was like, oh, they got some other titles that are included in this. I'm like, whatever. I'll just wait for maybe they'll be on sale come Black Friday. I don't know. But I noticed because some of the titles that they've been releasing, like McPherson tapes and shit, I don't know. Were they widely? Are they selling in other retail stores?
I mean, they'll sell on Amazon, I believe.
Yeah, Amazon.
Okay, I didn't see them right away, but yeah, okay.
But it's probably a couple weeks later, kind of like how Vinegar Syndrome puts their stuff out first, and then eventually it goes through Amazon. Yeah, I mean,
I love that line. The Afghan line is great. It's got some really weird titles, and it's one of those funky ass lines. If you're like me, who organizes his movies by company. So that line is very odd because it goes Blu-ray, Blu-ray, DVD, Blu-ray, Blu-ray, DVD, Blu-ray. And so it's like up and down. Fucking so annoying, but
now they're putting out shit that's SOV on Blu-ray, and I don't know if the special features are in HD, but it's just, to me, it's really hard to fork over $25 for a SOV on Blu-ray. I just can't do it.
That's partly the reason why I never, supported the Sabrosa shot on video Blu-ray releases that were like $30, $35 because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, exactly the same frame of mind you're in. I'm like, why would I pay $30 for a movie that shouldn't be on Blu-ray? You're paying just to have the better disc. It's not. It's not PQ at this point at all. You're just overpaying for the disc.
I bought some, but I don't anymore.
I mean, I
wait for the DVDs. I just buy them in DVD.
Exactly. All shot on video is like perfect on DVD and stuff.
I like what Olive did on their releases, their shot on video releases. They were like. It says there's a disclaimer on the back. Disclaimer: Man Killers is presented using the best available elements provided by Slasher Video, not sourced from an HD master, remastered from PAL Beta SP, and up-converted to Blu-ray and DVD specifications. Yeah. So at least they're telling you it's not going to look good.
Well, yeah, I mean, on the AGFA ones too.
But I think anybody that actually knows film and what film can be restored and what can't be, I mean, you should just know that. I mean, anything shot on video.
Yeah, if you're buying weird shit like fucking those movies, you should know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
nobody's buying Victims, but I'm like, I can't wait for this HD master of Victims or something like that.
Yeah. I think at this point, I mean, if they were really cheap, I wouldn't mind getting the Blu-ray disc just to have, because I mean, let's face it, the Blu-ray disc is better than a DVD just for scratch value. I mean, it's not like I'm playing Frisbee with my shit, but you never know, something might happen, right?
Yeah.
Blu-ray discs are just a better quality disc.
I mean, if it's only a $2 difference, I'm going to get the Blu-ray.
Yeah, for sure, and that's where I'm looking at.
If it's $15, no fucking way.
But I could never get over the Sabrosa Blu-rays. They limit them to like 100 or 50 or whatever, and those things would sell out in like 3 minutes. And I'm like, people are forking over $35 for a fucking shitty ass Polonia Brothers that movie that's like 38 minutes long. I'm like, this is fucking crazy.
I never bought I don't know if I've seen any Polonia Brothers movies. I had to see a couple. I think I saw Slaughter Farm.
Oh, you've definitely seen
Splatter Farm.
You've definitely seen Splatter. You probably. I mean, honestly, man. The Polonia Brothers have done so many movies.
And one of those Camp Blood movies they did. They did one of those, and it was awful.
Yeah, the earlier stuff is good, man. Like Splatter Farm and, some of the stuff that Camp released and shit was pretty decent. But, I mean, it's definitely not everyone's cup of tea. I'm pretty sure Jeremy doesn't care.
No, I do not care.
Splatter Farm DVD's cut, too. It's a different cut.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Don't ever do that. Don't fucking release a classic old movie that people remember fondly and then we're putting out our own cut. No one gives a fuck anymore. Put both cuts on there.
Right.
No one gives a fuck. They don't. The 10 people that have seen this movie don't need improvements on it. Just fucking, unless you have to do it because somebody has the rights, don't bother cutting it.
It's true. Like, really, it's a fucking, like, shot on video film. Like, why are you putting on a different cut of this shit, man? Like,
they're like, my vision was really hurt, so I cut a lot of stuff out. Like, I understand improving it. Like, well, this digital effect was absolute dog shit. Like the Tempe stuff will do, where they're like, well, the credits were really bad here, and I remastered it anyways, and they just didn't fit anymore, so I changed the credits. Like, I don't know, no big deal. It looks better. But some of the shit, I'm like, why are you cutting out like 10 minutes of this movie?
Man, can you imagine just sitting on this for 20 years waiting for like a director's cut of like the shitty ass shot on video film? Like, this is the marketing ploy behind it. It's like, newly remastered director's uncut of this fucking shitty shot on video film.
Technology to release redneck zombies as the way it was supposed to be. Now, this is the real thing. 45 minutes edited footage, all the music cut out.
Man, I would watch a director's cut of Beauty Queen Butcher if they cut out probably 90 minutes of it. It would be fantastic.
But what about a director's cut of Alien Beast? Come on, Dave. You know you want to watch that.
Oh, God.
I don't even want to watch Alien Beast. You watched it for me. I don't have to watch it.
Alien Beast is horrible. It's atrocious. It's not as
the
bad
whole thing
as...
is a director's cut.
It's not as bad as Science Craze, though. Science Craze might even be one of the worst movies ever made. Like,
Derek said at least it had a story, though.
It doesn't, though. It actually doesn't. It's so it's like it's all convoluted in what you're seeing anyways. I don't understand how you say, oh, it's a good story. No, there's not.
He didn't say good story. He said it had a story. That's all he said.
I mean, that's highly fucking debatable right now. I feel like the story's so convoluted that there really isn't a story. It's stupid. It's fucking dumb. But it's just like, even for a movie shot on video, it's really bad. Right? Like, even the quality's lesser than a lot of other shot on videos. Like, it's horrible. It's just unbelievably fucking terrible. And, you know, going back to, you know, Dave hating on Canadian cinema, there you go. That's a prime example of some shit you should be hating on.
They make it easy.
Yeah, I mean...
If it weren't for Cronenberg and William Fruit, I don't know what you guys would do.
Well, I mean, honestly, the movie...
Yeah, My Bloody Valentine.
One of the movies that we're viewing tonight, The Reflecting Skin...
That's Canadian.
It's a UK director, but the movie was done in Canada. It was actually shot in Alberta. So, yeah. I mean, it was done...
Nightbreed was shot in Canada too, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Cronenberg's in it, so it probably is.
Yeah, I think it was, actually. Yeah.
I think so, too.
Yeah, I was, watching it. Well, we'll get to that review anyways, but...
There's a lot of Canadian tuxedos in Nightbreed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Like everybody's wearing flannel or jean jackets in Nightbreed.
Product of the times, really, right? Shit.
Yeah, 1990.
1990, man. Yeah. Oh, man. So, I want to ask you guys, how is your 2020 watches shaping up? Because we are almost 9 months into the year, and I'm still pretty much with you guys on the, like, it's gaggable, man. Like, I'm trying.
About 50. I'm at 50.
I'm reaching out, and I'm watching. Like, I think at this rate, I'll probably hit 100. I'm
gonna get 100, and that's it.
Yeah, and then I've been watching. I watched like 8 or 9 this week and stuff, and it's all hit and miss, but nothing is sticking out, man. I still need to watch a bunch of the ones that are on Shudder and other streaming sites and stuff, but I'll get to them. But for now, I'm just like, what is going on with this year, man? It's just a lot of like, okay. So this is what I watched this week. I watched Hashtag Live. Which,
I didn't like that.
Which
I watch that.
I
didn't like it.
I was blown away by this movie, not in a good way, because it's literally a remake of the French movie The Night Eats the World. That came
I found it boring.
The zombie one?
Yeah,
I like that zombie one.
Yeah, well, that one came out last year, I believe. It was 2019.
Is that where he's in the apartment or something?
Yeah. So this movie is the same story. It's about a guy that wakes up and, fucking chaos outside, and he's stuck in his apartment, and he finds
zombies?
Yes.
Yeah, there's zombies outside. It's literally a remake. It's like a Korean...
Oh, that's Hashtag Alive? That's what it's called, the Korean one?
Yeah. So this is like a Korean remake of the French movie. I don't know if it's an official, but it's literally the same movie. It's literally the same movie. So I was like, what the fuck? But I just didn't really find... I mean, the third act in Hashtag Alive was horrible, right? The third act was terrible. I watched The Babysitter Killer Queen. I kept hearing from people it was good. It was absolutely atrocious.
Most people I heard say it sucked.
Oh, it was fucking
I don't think it's atrocious, but it's not as good as the first one.
Dude,
first one was great.
Yeah, the first one is just, this one's such a different movie. For me, it was too long, but they tried too hard in this. They got so silly at points with the narrative and what they were doing and shit. It got ridiculous, man. I didn't find it fun at all. Scare Package, I watched that anthology film. I thought was really fun. Really good gore in it. Kind of tells a story set in a movie store and shit. I thought it was actually pretty fun. The Beach House, you guys check out that one?
Nah, I was gonna.
It's basically.
I want to though. It's on my list.
I got about. Well, once the shit starts going down, I'm like, man, I've seen this movie even recently. It's Lovecraft's The Color of Space, essentially, with an ocean. It's kind of the same storyline. I mean, this movie's been done lots. Curse. List goes on and on. It's
down by the beach, boy.
Yeah, so it's basically like the shit that's coming out of the ocean, but it's essentially the same kind of narrative. I finally got around to watching that Host movie on Shudder.
It's great.
the kind of the
short though, right?
Yeah, it's like 56 minutes.
Yeah, I like it. I was shocked how fucking short it was, but it was actually pretty good, for what it was.
Yeah, it's really good.
Amulet I checked out, didn't care for it at all.
And that one looked right up my alley too by the cover and the description. I was like, I'm gonna love Amulet. That and Relic looks like I'll like it.
Dude, I know, I thought it sounded really good too. It's honestly boring as shit, like really fucking boring. Like I was like, man, I don't even like to use that adjective to describe movies, but this one, I don't know what else to say. It actually was legitimately boring. The Deeper You Dig, I know this one came out a couple years ago. Some people had seen it before. I didn't care for it at all. I thought it got really goofy in the third act. Like, just didn't care for it at all. And I watched The Honeymoon Phase last night. This one actually sounded right in my alley because it's basically about a bunch of couples that are sent to this facility, and a research facility on, kind of marriage. And it's about this doctor that wants to figure out why couples can't stay in the honeymoon phase their entire lives, kind of thing. It's pretty standard, man. I mean, it was pretty good. And then again, the third act sucked donkey dicks. I don't know what third act the year of the bad third act. I don't know, but
did you see Impertigore or whatever it is called?
No, not yet. It's on my list. Like I said,
it's a good one.
I was just kind of,
that's a good one.
I was just kind of beating around the bush, checking out shit that came to my mind and stuff. But again, I'll get to this shit. So, like my thoughts and years. I mean, if the year ended right now, it's
pretty shitty.
I would not feel good at all. And I know I've mentioned this before, but this was a few months ago, doing a top 10 list, because honestly, like the 10 films that would make that list right now, it would not be great.
Starting in at a 7.
Yeah, it's like what? The Lodge, Invisible Man. What else has been good? VFW, Color Space.
See, VFW is one of my favorites. Vivarium, I love that movie.
Vivarium, yeah.
Golden Glove's pretty good.
Golden Glove was, man, that was quite the watch.
Disgusting though.
Butt Boy, I loved Butt Boy.
Why Don't You Just Die?
Why Don't You Just Die is cool.
I think Butt Boy is actually one of the most unique films I've seen in a long time. That one has
a lot of these are like horror, barely horror. Like Why Don't You Just Die and Butt Boy, and I liked Horse Girl and Swallow, and those are barely horror movies too.
Yeah, see, I didn't like either one of those, and I know I seem to be like on the outskirts of Swallow, but I thought the movie was really intriguing again until the third act. I thought the third act just went haywire. Like
I just liked the third act.
I didn't like it at all. But Vivarium and Butt Boy are two of the most unique films of the year.
Butt Boy is so stupid. Oh, you guys got to watch Uncle Peckerhead. I know it sounds really dumb.
That one's on my list.
That is really fun. Like how I was watching porno last night, and I did not care for it very much. It just wasn't funny, and I didn't like the characters, and I was bored. But Uncle Peckerhead, it was funny, and I did like the characters.
Yeah. See, I like porno. I actually thought it was pretty cool, man. I like the kind of the movie inside the movie and stuff. And I do get where you're coming from with the characters and stuff for sure. I don't know, man. I always have this kind of soft spot for these stupid, naive kind of, I guess, religious type characters that just don't know better. I don't know. It always cracks me up, but
Derek gave it a 9 out of 10. Shocker.
It was also like, man, this movie like acts like it has balls. Like, yeah, you showed a dick on screen, but it had no balls. It's just like It's like that movie Cuties, which was pretty decent, but they're like, oh, we can't kill any of our characters because we want to franchise this. It's like, kill some of these motherfuckers, man. No one gives a fuck. You ain't having 4 movies after. Just kill some of these motherfuckers. I feel like there's no stakes.
That's the wrong way of doing movies these days, man. You should never make a movie with having a franchise in mind, because the shit turns out like that. It feels like you're cutting that film short. Just do what you need to do, and then think of a fucking plan if you want to expand this into something else. But don't cut that movie short and then put out a fucking half-ass product. It's like, I get exactly what you're saying, man. It's like, so much that bullshit.
Dream Warriors, like, think about that. You wouldn't expect those characters to die, and Freddy kills a bunch of the characters even after they get powers.
Right.
And then 4 kind of fucks it up by just killing all the rest in the first 5 minutes.
Oh man, I know.
I want to know if Amityville Vibrator's any good. That's all I want to.
I've seen it. It's Nathan Rumler's movie.
Is it any good?
It's SOB, and it's really dirty, like sleazy for me, man. Like open butthole shoving vibrators up there.
So
I'm not even kidding.
So you said you're up at 50 watches already? That's pretty good.
Around 50, but I had a couple from last year that qualifies this year, like 5, 6.
Yeah, I
probably Final Interview and Powerbomb and shit.
Yeah, I think I still need to see the Final Interview, man. That's definitely something I need to check out. But I probably watched a couple films last year that I probably shouldn't have for 19, and probably 2020 releases, right? Because there were, film
Yeah,
festival type
screeners
shit.
and shit.
That always happens. I do that every year. I always watch a couple ahead of time. Like I think I watched Dark Knight I did watch Dark Knight last year, and it officially got released this year.
What's that one?
It's just okay. I think we reviewed it on Fresh Cuts, actually.
Did you see Dark Red?
No.
That one's worth checking out.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't even know about that one.
Well acted. Dark Red's well acted.
Cool. Jeremy, what have you have you watched lots of films from this year?
I've watched 25.
Well, that's pretty good.
Not bad. And The Other Lamb's pretty decent, if you ask me.
Like VFW, The Grudge is shitty. Gretel and Hansel was interesting. Has good cinematography.
It was good. It was worth watching. It was a good looking movie.
Color Out of Space. The Turning is shit.
The Turning is horrible. That's a fucking.
You seen Underwater, right?
Platform. I think a lot of people liked it more than I did, but I still think it was pretty good.
Which one, Jeremy?
The Platform on Netflix.
Oh yeah, no, I still need to check that one out.
Underwater, interesting.
I liked
creature
it.
Feature.
I liked it.
The Lodge.
The ending's great in Underwater.
Mm-hmm.
The Lodge. I love that movie. The Invisible Man, amazing. Fantasy Island, better than I expected it to be. It's still not good, but it was better than I thought it would be. Train to Busan, The New Mutants. What else?
Train to Busan.
Peninsula.
Oh yeah, okay.
What else? Extraordinary. It's pretty okay.
Is that British one?
Yeah. Oh no, Irish.
Okay, yeah. I started watching that. I got a screener, and the accents are so thick, and they didn't have subtitles. I was just like, man, my left ear, I'm like 25% deaf, if not more. I can't hear this.
Blood Quantum, interesting.
I really enjoyed Blood. I really enjoyed Blood Quantum because there's a lot of Canadian social commentary there that a lot of people. We talked about this on Fresh Cuts. Actually, we kind of broke it all down and stuff. It was kind of cool actually because Heather was on that show and she's Canadian also. So it packs a lot of punch for us.
Isn't it weird that I didn't like that and it's Canadian? It
is weird because honestly, most people.
The opening's great.
Most people have actually. I get it. I can see where you're coming from with the characters and stuff, but.
Not all.
But
it's just teenage angst bullshit. It's just eye roll, and everybody survives, so they're smart enough to survive for years, and then they all turn like fucking morons in like 3 minutes. Like, we're not gonna even check this person. We're gonna let them into the camp and not even check them. The fuck out. Oh no,
yeah. There was definitely those things we actually talked about on the show. Ugh. There definitely was moments in the film, like with the ending with the father and things like that, and there's moments like that are kind of cliche and stuff. But I think overall the commentary in it packs enough punch, and it was interesting to me that it was that movie was actually done. So that was kind of
great.
Cool.
Special effects too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I didn't hate it. I gave it like a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
Let's see. Why Didn't You Just Die? That was really, really good. #Alive. I didn't like it.
Did you see Bit?
Vivarium. Interesting, really good. I watched Spree today. That was fucking awesome. I really liked that one. That was really good. And The Host, which is awesome.
You guys see Random Act of Violence?
Yeah, I thought it was average.
Okay.
There's another movie called Random Act of Violence. Like, how many is there now?
It's directed by Jay Baruchel, the guy who did all the other fucking...
He's Canadian.
Yeah. Ugh.
I like Jay Baruchel, man. He's fun. Yeah,
man. But he's Canadian.
I think he was in the first Goon movie, and then he directed the second one. I like his character in those movies. It's funny.
And that's it. But, average stuff, I suppose.
I know. That's what I feel like this year is right now. I'm hoping that some more heavy hitters, maybe some more good indie stuff comes out.
Relic's supposed to be good. Relic sounds like it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I got Relic pretty much on deck to watch. So, but the final interview, the new Fred Vogel movie, is something I've been wanting to check out since he announced it. Really, I mean, it's Fred Vogel, and it's completely not what he's done before. So,
Slaughterhouse Slumber Party, I love. Dustin's movie.
Nice.
That's not for everybody, though. I mean, I heard some people give it reviews, and I was just like, really?
So that qualifies as a 20 film?
Yeah.
Cool.
It was only released to Indiegogo in 2019.
Okay. I wasn't sure. Good to know. Yeah, The Other Lamb is another one I got on deck. I want to check that one out.
I liked it. It's slow at points, but it's really well shot.
Yeah. Sputnik was another one that sounded kind of interesting.
Yeah, I had that one, but I couldn't find subtitles.
Same with The Vast of Night. That was another one I thought looked kind of cool. But yeah, a lot of films to check out, but nothing just overpoweringly, inviting, I guess. It's one of those odd years, but I guess that's what we kind of expect when the whole world goes to shit, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's some 2020 talk. You guys got anything else? Jeremy, do you have any house cleaning stuff, podcast info that maybe JP mentioned to you? I never say this stuff because I just don't keep track of it as well as you guys do. So,
you want to announce some future episodes or something so people know what's going on, or?
Yeah. What do we got coming up next week?
All right, next week we have King Kong 33 versus King Kong 05.
Yes, and I can already hear people screaming, "Why not 76 and why not 0?" Yeah. I don't know. That's the way it was picked. That's the way it was picked. 33 and 05. And I'm like, what the fuck? No, 76? And I'm like, I think originally we just thought we'd just do that. And then we're like, no, we got to get all these bonus reviews done. So,
yeah. We all know which one's the best.
Yeah. It's definitely not 05.
Yeah, well, I mean, even on 76, it's just it's laughable to compare those three movies. They're not even none of those movies are the same.
No.
Then we got Wizard of Gore OG versus remake next week.
Ursula Gordon-Lewis.
See, I will say, okay, we have to say that these are Patreon pick shows, so just in case people are wondering why these are shows that we're doing, but yeah, no, we honestly don't. I would say our show is almost 100% Patreon now, to be honest.
I want to see the remake of Wizard of Gore, because the concept's decent, and I actually don't hate that one by Herschel Gordon-Lewis. I bet the remake's better with Crispin Glover.
The remake is pretty good. Yeah, Crispin Glover definitely plays the character quite well in it, for sure. I mean, like he always does.
Instead of what? Carl Seeger was the guy in the original?
I can't remember. Yeah.
Or Ray Seegers. I don't know. I remember he was just like a PA or helping Herschel Gordon-Lewis, and he gave him the role or something.
Mm-hmm. For being such a lover of horror, I can't believe that you're not a fan of Herschel Gordon-Lewis. It's just it doesn't obviously.
There's only one Godfather of Gore, and his name is Lucio Fulci.
I do agree with that. But,
I do like 2000 Maniacs. I love that one.
Yeah, it's definitely better than that shitty remake. Ugh.
I'm gonna have to watch that for 2005.
I just watched it again. It was garbage.
I bet I like it. It's trashy.
And then last sneak peek after that, we have Paranormal Activity, which we already talked about.
And that was featured. Do we have any guests on the Herschel Gordon-Lewis? Nope. No? Okay. So Lacey Lou's on the Paranormal Activity. We do have, I think we might have mentioned last week, but we do have a lineup all the way till January. So there's a lot of shows coming here. A lot of good stuff. So we do have our Halloween extravaganza show. There's going to be a Christmas show, obviously. Beginning of January is going to be the top 10 of 2020, which I just want to get over with. At this point, I just want to get that fucking thing over with. But
episode 200.
Episode 200, which I don't know if we've announced what it is, but there's a couple really big shows coming up, a lot of franchise shows, and a lot of interesting kind of all over the show or place shows. And of course, November, which is reserved for Italian Horror Month, which is only 4 weeks in this one. Last year we got lucky, or unlucky as Jeremy would say, and we had an extra week, so we did 5 Italian shows. But this year we got 4. I believe we have 3 of the 4 shows picked. I'm not sure if
they're all picked.
They are all picked. You're right. So the lineups have been worked out, and I'm looking forward to that as usual. So
I don't remember who you picked, Moods.
I picked Lucio Cosi.
Luigi Cosi?
Did I say Lucio? Yeah, Luigi Cosi.
I wasn't correcting you. I was just complaining.
Well, the reason, I mean, we've done a lot of directors, and the reason why...
You've done like everybody.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to pick him because he offered up 3 kind of different, have a Giallo in there, Contamination, which is obviously an Alien ripoff, and then Paganini Horror. They're 3 different type of films, and
What's his Paganini Horror, Contamination? What's number 3?
The Killer Must Kill Again.
The Killer Must Kill Again, which I have actually never seen.
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, I've never seen it either, because I know Mondo Macabro put out the DVD years and years ago.
I have it.
And I fucking never bought it. And then, of course, like we all know, old Mondo DVDs go for ridiculous money. And they never re-release their stuff. And
might as well wait for a Blu-ray. It'll happen.
Well, okay, so we've discussed this before on the show about Mondo Macabro and their titles that they've obtained and released over the years. Why is that nobody ever re-releases their stuff and or them releasing their out-of-print stuff? Because if they still have the rights, which I'm assuming they do since no one else has bought up the rights and released a lot of these titles, why are none of these titles like all that Bollywood stuff? You know, all those things that they released. There's so many old Mondo releases I wish I had picked up back in the day because they used to be on Amazon Prime, on Amazon for, but they were always like $20. I'm like, I'm not paying fucking $20 for DVDs, bullshit, which I should have because now those shits go for like hundreds of dollars. But,
especially there's a bunch that I would have picked up that I didn't.
I know. And like, I just kind of sat on them forever and all of a sudden they were gone. And then that was it. But my question is, why has none of those titles been re-released by either Mondo or another company? Because let's face it, in the movie industry, once a title goes out of print, say you Screen Factory, all these titles that are going out of print, someone's going to pick up all these titles and re-release them next year
or some shit.
Yeah, so it's going to happen. But why not the Mondo titles? And it's so infuriating because you look at their back catalog. I think the Asian
titles are harder to deal with, like Indonesia and stuff. I just don't think they have an in on those. Or they don't have elements.
But it's literally like
the Philippines. The elements are hard to find because the climate they were stored in is fucked, and it's this humidity, man. A lot of those movies are probably lost. Alucard's elements are gone for Christ's sakes, and Alucard is a classic.
Yeah. Maybe it is, but it's odd that like almost all their titles have not been re-released. I mean, I would probably say 95% of them. It's really odd.
They got some interesting stuff too, like Living Doll and all sorts of weird shit. That was pretty good.
I'm lucky enough to have a copy of Living Doll, which is
I got that one.
It's kind of like Necromantic in a sense. A
little
bit different,
a little bit more tame, and it's got who is it? Eartha Kitt's in there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, they just have so many titles in that catalog that are so cool, man. Like the Bollywood stuff, that shit just bugs the shit out of me. I don't own.
Yeah, I want that Bollywood Freddy Krueger movie.
Yeah, man.
I didn't buy any of those Bollywood sets. The 3 sets or 2 sets, I didn't buy them.
Yeah, there might have been 3 volumes. I think there might have been. I'm not sure, but yeah, those are just like eluding my collection. And
Dangerous Seductress too is another one I wish I had.
Yep, I know.
I got Lady Terminator, but I don't got Dangerous Seductress.
Man, I missed out on Lady Terminator 2. That's stupid, but
They have some of their DVDs on their site sometimes still.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I go there every once in a while, they're actually close to me because they ship out of Seattle, which is just like a hop, skip, and a jump from where I live. So it's nice if I do buy from Mondo. It comes pretty quick, which is nice.
I think they're the most underrated label.
Yeah, they've released some major, major obscure shit that really cool things. It's not just obscure for the sake of releasing it, but they release some pretty good obscure things, which is awesome. So, yeah, I mean, like every other label, they've released a plethora of, Franco films, right? Like
everybody's released 10 Franco films. Severance's got to be the king now, right?
I know, man. It's so many labels of just, oh, fuck, dude. Like, I literally own over 75 Franco films, and there's still a bunch out there that I haven't picked.
I've seen like 20 Jess Franco movies.
Yeah. Like, there's a couple Severin ones I haven't picked up, and it just seems like every year there's a couple more that come out, and I'm like, my God, like, fucking Franco movies, man.
Jess Franco, I like him. Like, I love Jess Franco. I love the interviews with him. I like him. But a lot of his movies, not for me. Like I said, it's an acquired fucking taste.
Well, he went through different stages in his career. His early part in his career, I thought his movies were legitimately good. He had higher budgets.
Like Venus and Furs is fantastic.
Yeah, man. Like the early gothic kind of things that he was doing and stuff. But then, late 60s, early 70s hit, and it got porno. He started making fucking, just sleaze movies and stuff. And, he kind of went back to it.
And stuff.
Yeah, he went back to it kind of in the 80s a little bit. He made some decent kind of, off slashers and things.
Bloody Moon's good.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's some good ones. But yeah, with the Franco talk. But, I guess we should probably move this along. Right, guys?
All right.
And, let's get into some news, Jeremy.
Do it live.
Okay. Well, no.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
All right. Gonna try my best. I'm not JP at this shit, so I'm gonna try. So this was posted today on Rue Morgue. There was an interview with Don May Jr. of Synapse giving an update of Kindred and Massacre at Central High and some of the other releases that Synapse has coming up. Let's see. What is the status of Kindred? He says that's been going on for years. There were issues that had to be taken care of with the film owners first. That came up after we announced it all those years ago. Over the time those took to resolve, I realized that the masters we had were no longer up to par because they have been done years before. So when we got the green light to continue, I decided to redo everything from scratch. Then COVID happened and the labs we work with are still closed. A lot of people in the restoration industry are not working, so it's taken a little longer. We're just kind of waiting it out and finishing up a couple of other projects, and hopefully in another month or so we'll be able to get the materials that we need and continue with the Kindred. So I know that's one that people have been wanting.
Yeah, that's those directors' best fucking movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still rocking my VHS of the Kindred. Can't wait for that release because what a great company to release that movie, you know.
Yeah, Rod Steiger, mad scientist.
Yeah, it's just taken way too long for a movie like the Kindred to get its due. But
yeah, I think it'll do well too, like when that hits, because it's a crazy monster movie.
I'm hoping so, man, because it seems to be one of those movies that where if you watch videos or see top 10 most wanted movies on Blu-ray that never had a decent release, that one seems to be on a lot of damn lists. So,
yeah. Where's Massacre at Central High at this point? We're getting everything finished right now. I posted a little sneak peek on my Instagram recently just to let everyone know we're still plugging along. Understandably, people are like, oh, it's been years. But again, Synapse does not release something until I feel it's fucking done. I don't want to put out something just to put it out if I don't feel I've done the best work I could do on it. The problem with Massacre was fairly similar to the one we've had with Tenebrae. We got the masters for that, and there was all this baked-in garbage from a poorly done restoration process that we had to go back in and fix. It was a fairly similar situation with Massacre at Central High. We got the files and had no control over the master. We didn't scan it and we didn't supervise it, and on the surface it was like, this is pretty good. But then I started seeing things, buttons, details, etc., disappearing and reappearing from frame to frame, and I actually fired 2 restoration companies that took a crack at fixing it. They made things worse instead of better in some cases. Then we finally found a third company which also handled Manchester Morgue for us, and they did a great job. So Massacre has taken a while, but it's coming. So there's that.
Yeah, that's the Hathers prequel right there.
Yeah, that's a great movie. That one made your top 10 of 76.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'd have to. That's
very very underrated movie, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Kimberly Peck's titties,
DVD?
man. It's awesome. She has some nice titties.
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell us about the Deadly Spawn? We scanned the negative, the A/B roll, and it's messy. We put the DVD out years ago, but when you're dealing with DVD resolution, you don't see as much. A lot of the fine dirt and problems inherent in the materials don't show up until you scan it at a higher resolution with better equipment. So we scanned Deadly Spawn in 4K, and we were like, uh-oh, this is a real mess. I sent it again. I sent it again to 2 different restoration houses. They sent me samples back, and again, I was upset with both of them. Then we found the company that had Manchester Morgue, and I was happy with them. We had to pull the 4K data from the other 2 places and send it to India, and then COVID, which India is still being affected by even today. So I guess that's where the remaster is being done. I talked to Spawn producer Ted Boas recently, and he's trying to find the original dialogue, music, and effect tracks so we can do a brand new mix. What I'd also like to do with Deadly Spawn is create new 4 DCPs and put it back out there if and when theaters reopen.
Man, that is such good news. I remember back in the day, Dave, you actually did a DVD Blu-ray comparison on your channel.
They just took the Blu-ray and lightened it up. Everybody's like, it's the worst looking Blu-ray ever. And maybe my TV wasn't up to snuff back then. But I was like, I mean, that DVD now it looks better, but it's not the worst Blu-ray ever.
No, the DVD looks fine, but that's a movie that I'm super, super stoked for. But, man, you got to give Synapse credit, man. The quality control that they have is second to none. I mean, Vinegar Syndrome is pretty much up there, too. I mean, they do a great job with their quality control, too. But, I mean, we can't. It's definitely not like Scream Factor. Every second release has to be recalled or something. But
the thing is with these movies from other countries, like he just said, he had no control over the Tenebrae scan. So, like, in Italy, they don't, like, send their prints out and their masters to be scanned by other people. They do it in-house, charge you, and then send it to you, and you get what you fucking get. Yeah. And that's why they took forever to fix up Suspiria. They fix it up themselves. That's why people are like, it's like, dude, that's what they got. That's why people are like, Severin, oh man, fucking Eaten Alive looks rough. No shit, Eaten Alive looks fucking rough because they probably scanned it over in fucking Italy and sent them what they got, and they tried to fix it, and it's just a crummy old fucking print of a fucking Italian cannibal movie. You guys aren't going to get fucking Liquid Sky or some shit off Eaten Alive.
Yeah, and it just depends on the prints that they're using, too, because you got a movie like Wild Beast, which was an Italian film that Severin released, and that transfer looks crazy, right? So...
You get what you get. Especially, I bet those jungle movies aren't going to be fucking well. I don't know. I can't imagine.
No, dude, those movies were always shot on shitty film stock and fucking they're grainy as hell to start with.
Probably rotting as fucking wherever they shot it at.
Of course.
Fucking bugs and shit inside the canisters of film.
But I won't lie though, man. When I watch a movie like Eaten Alive and I see all that grain, you watch any of those type of cannibal. Fucking whatever, but having that type of look to it just adds to the feel. Like I know that's kind of cliche to say, and people are like, "Oh, really? Fucking, I want a crystal clear thing." And I'm like, "That's fine," but I don't mind it.
I want it to look the best it can possibly look, but I don't like to reduce too much noise. And you know what I mean? Like when people are like, "I like to watch it on VHS," I no. We all know VHS sucks dick.
Well, I mean,
that's not the way the filmmakers wanted you to see it, unless it was like fucking August Underground. All right?
It's true. People are always like, "Oh, VHS is the best." I'm like, actually, dude, you're watching that shit in full screen. It's not the best because most of these
box screen, bro.
They're shot in
true
wide
full screen.
They're not meant to be fucking in 4:3. They're meant to be in 69 kind of thing or whatever the widescreen ratio may
Pan and
be.
scan, bro. That's where it's at. Pan and scan.
Right. I just feel like it's nostalgia taking over brain activity at that point. Like, fuck.
Just because you watched it on VHS when you were 12 doesn't mean it's better. It means you watched it on VHS when you were 12.
Yeah, that's straight nostalgia.
I'm going to keep reading because I think there's a lot of stuff in here that people would be interested about. How about Mike Mendez's movies? We're still looking for materials for the Convent. There's a 4K master available that was done by the licensor with the materials that had a couple of theatrical prints, which doesn't look so hot. If we have to use it, we will, but we think we found the original materials. The production company went under, so all the materials got scattered, and it's hard to figure out the chain of where everything went. Around December, January, we found what we think the materials are. They're in California in a lab that is closed because of the pandemic. Basically, the answer for every title you're asking about, COVID happened. We're also working on Killers, and as soon as my schedule opens, I'm going to go back to that. That movie never had Mike Mendez's true ending attached. The distributor wanted a different one, and Mike was never happy with that, so we found the original materials, and we're going to restore his ending.
So the Convent,
movie.
Like the early 2000s one, kind of like the Night of the Demons ripoff?
Adrian Barbeau one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and Killers is another Mendez movie. That's a weird one. That's like a Natural-Born Killers thing.
I didn't know that Synapse was releasing and maybe I did and I forgot, but that's fucking cool, man, because I've talked about that movie for years, about just being kind of underrated, it's fun.
I doubt the Killers is going to have the door music in it. The Doors, This Is the End. I doubt they're going to be able to get that.
I mean, honestly, yeah.
It was a weird version. There's like a couple versions of that movie. I don't know if that's the official or not.
Yeah, who knows? Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
What's up with Tombs of the Blind Dead? Tombs is another one. We're in the middle of fixing a restoration. We licensed Tomb of the Blind Dead, and we're given a restored master, and we're like, this is a brand new restoration from Germany. And there are things disappearing from the image. There's a scene at the end where one of the Templar zombies raises a sword to cut someone down, and the whole sword disappears from the frame. And in
That's what's supposed to happen.
And in one of the scenes in the beginning where a girl jumps off the train, blah, blah, blah. But I guess they're working on Tombs of the Blind Dead.
Honestly, this is kind of an annoying turn of events because, I mean, all the rights to the 4 films kind of went all over the place. Like, didn't Scream Factory get the 4th one, and they've got the 1st one? And, Blue Underground obviously released that awesome coffin set of all 4 movies and stuff. But wouldn't we just want to have all 4 in a fucking box set at this point? Because I feel like
a lot of people aren't going to track those down separately.
That's the thing. I never bought the Scream Factory release because I have the DVD. I'm like, why the fuck would I buy like the 4th one if I don't have the first 3? And like, I'm going to buy the Synapse, and then other companies are going to release it. And then one day someone's miraculously going to release them all like a Halloween box set, and it's going to be Tombs of the Blind Dead on Blu-ray, and I have to buy them again. Fuck this.
I doubt there's going to be a box set of that.
Oh man, it's just such a shame, dude, because that's a great, quadrilogy kind of thing, man.
Should do that on this show.
I honestly, I've been panning for that one for years, man, and fucking no one's picked it. And I remember when we first started this show, actually back in 12. It might have been the first year I even mentioned. I don't know if Jeremy remembers. JP says he doesn't remember that, but I brought it up a few times. I'm like, man, this would be a good one. It's like 4 movies. They're all pretty solid and shit to do on the show. We never did it. So
should do Spanish horror again. There's lots of good Spanish horror.
Endless good Spanish horror. Yeah.
All right. Next up, This is new news. Christopher Landon's slasher movie Freaky has been rated R for strong, bloody violence. This is Chris Landon, of course, who did Not My Bloody Valentine. Happy Death Day. This is his new movie from Blumhouse and Universal, supposed to open up on November 13th. It's rated R for strong, bloody violence, sexual content, and language throughout. Also stars Vince Vaughn as a serial killer.
Oh man, I was so excited. I was so excited for this, just because I'm like, oh, it might be an improvement from his piece of shit Happy Death Day. Vince Vaughn gets brought up.
Vince Vaughn's all right.
Yep.
Honestly, I would prefer Vince Vaughn in a role like this, where it's probably not going to be comedic, because I find Vince Vaughn not funny at all. Like, I prefer him in more serious type roles. I just don't understand this comedic shit is just not funny. So, fuck Vince Vaughn and the nation. Fuck the VV nation.
All right. Next up, Final Destination creator Jeffrey Reddick's directorial debut, Don't Look Back, gets October release.
Terrible.
Oh, another don't movie to add to my collection of don'ts. Don't buy
Comes
these.
out in theaters and on demand October 16th. Courtney Bell stars as Caitlin Kramer, a woman overcoming a tragic past who's among several people who see a man being fatally assaulted. When the witness starts dying mysteriously, she must unearth if they're being targeted by a killer or something far more insidious. Sounds pretty shitty.
Sounds so boring.
And
Jeffrey Reddick fucking wrote the Day of the Dead remake, so
and the
first
title's
one.
so not. There's already a couple movies with that same title. Fuck this shit, man.
I'm not watching that. Hard pass.
I'm not going to
All
watch
right.
it, but I'm going to buy the DVD.
That's about right. I'll probably do it too. I'm like, oh, it's $5.99.
I need another don't title in my collection. Fuck. Jesus.
All right. Next up, David Cronenberg's Crash joins the Criterion Collection in December. So Arrow is releasing a 4K of this, and Criterion are being lame and releasing a Blu-ray of this, but it's finally coming to Region 1 on December 1st. So I'm going to be grabbing the Arrow release, of course, but if you're into Blu-rays, you can pick it up from Criterion on December 1st.
They need to release 4Ks, man. Like everybody else is doing it. They're going to get left behind.
Yep.
Well, I'll be grabbing the Arrow, not because of the 4K, but just because it's going to be way, way cheaper. Right?
For you.
For me. Yeah. Honestly, man, Criterions are $50 here. So fuck that. That's why I don't own a lot.
All right. Total Recall coming to 4K from Lionsgate in December.
Get your ass to Mars.
Yeah, I can't wait for this. I saw this on 70mm last June, and I loved it. It was awesome. So, it's coming from Lionsgate, brand new 4K restoration.
That movie is going to look retarded good, man.
I love that movie. That's
too.
one of my
Me
favorite
too.
movies.
It's my second favorite Arnie movie behind The Running Man.
Mine too. Exactly the same. And then number 3 is Predator.
Oh my god, that's really, really
Then
bizarre,
number 4
man.
is Terminator. And then probably 5 True Lies.
Oh,
I like
dude.
Commander.
So you like the
Commando.
Terminator more than Terminator 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. That's so crazy.
Michael Bean's great in the first one.
Yeah.
And Lance Hendrickson and Paul Winfield.
You might be the only other person I've ever met that likes The Running Man the most.
Oh, it's my favorite.
That's
Sub-Zero.
so crazy. Richard
Now,
Dawson?
just Plain Zero. Oh, I love it.
Richard Dawson is the best in that movie, man. Oh, it's so good.
Dude, I love the beginning with Arnold's got the beard and he's like, need
Yeah.
a lift? I've seen him 100 fucking times, man.
Right?
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah, man.
Oh, this song's a part of me, and I'm gonna make it a part of you. That's all right. Keep it.
So
right,
good.
here's some 2005 news. Writers of 2005's House of Wax recall floating the idea of a prequel movie to the studios. Didn't receive a particularly warm reception when it came out in 2005, nor did it set the box office on fire. But House of Wax has aged quite well here in the horror world. We did float the idea of a prequel after it came out, but the studio's response is it didn't do any big numbers at the box office. Kerry Haynes told comicbook.com this month. But if we approach it now, it could be a whole different story because of the fan base. He continued, it's like the theater became full of people. How, I mean, it's a crazy story. So,
House of Wax.
Late to make a prequel, isn't it? 15 years?
Yeah, 15.
Yeah.
I don't really understand that whole idea, considering it is just a remake of 2 other movies. But so House of Wax is kind of one of those oddball films that I saw when it first came out and didn't care for it. I was like, whatever, man. I'll watch the Price films any day kind of thing. And over time, it kind of grew on me. And I rewatched it actually recently because 2005 was one of the years I had for the summer series, which I brought up a couple times on the show. So I had to rewatch it. And again, it's just fucking fun, man. It is really, really fun. I have this weird theory to why it didn't do good in the theater. I mean, it was at that time. I mean, if anybody knew that it was a remake and shit like that, a lot of people were just kind of gagging on the fact of going to see
horror
another
fans
remake.
tuned out.
Right? They kind of tuned out exactly with that whole thing. And of course, the whole Paris Hilton thing too. You know, I mean, I think just people seeing her in there just like, fuck, really? I'm not going to see this fucking movie with Paris Hilton. Not really knowing that her kill is actually one of the better ones in the film, but, you know, it was kind of satisfying.
I was 18 years old. You can't expect me to go watch a remake of House of Wax with Paris Hilton. I'm like, no, I hate everything.
I just remember people talking about it, like, fucking remake with Paris Hilton, like, this is going to be garbage. And that was literally the selling point to a lot of people to why they never stepped in that theater. And I get it. I completely understand it because at that time, you know, the remake was becoming the norm and people were getting sick of it. And they're like, Paris Hilton's not an actress. Why the fuck is she? This is like another Halloween Resurrection with Busta Rhymes and all these non-actors and shit like that. And it's like, fuck this. But it's kind of weird how these movies get better with time. I don't know if you watched it recently. Either one of you guys?
I've never seen it.
Oh,
I didn't watch it.
Oh, shit, you never did watch it?
I'm excited to watch it for 2005. I have the Blu-ray set.
Okay. So I watched it, you know, in 2005, and I probably watched it maybe 10 years later. I know I picked up the DVD and didn't watch it for a while, and then I popped in one day. I was like, fuck, I need to rewatch this shit. And I was like, holy shit, this is a lot better than I remember. And then I rewatched it again just recently, and I was like, fuck, man, this movie's actually really fun. So I kind of like the effects in it. It's cool.
Yeah. Docu-series History of Horror returns to AMC in October with 6 brand new episodes. So Eli Roth's History of Horror is coming back on October 10th on AMC at 10/9 Central. So this new season will explore magic-wielding witches, misshapen monsters, and famously evil youngsters, hell houses, and body horror.
Cool. Body horror.
Yeah. So that should be cool.
Better do Italy once.
Profiling some Cronenberg. Yes. Why not Italian stuff? Right.
S. Eli Roth. All right.
Jaws ripoffs.
Travel Channel announces Ghostober schedule, including Amityville Horror and Exorcist specials. So on this, we have a new 2-hour documentary on Amityville premiering on October 26th. And then we have something on an exorcism. And then this is really interesting. On October 29th, we have a 2-hour special, Ghost Adventures, Horror at Joe Exotic Zoo. So Zach Biggins and the Ghost Adventures crew go inside the infamous Greater Windworld Exotic Animal Park to investigate sinister accounts of ghostly activity.
Not exploitive at all.
And before they do that, they watch Wild Beasts on repeat.
Yeah. Also not exploitive at all.
I just found that interesting. That everything's got to be
setting rats on fire and shit.
Oh my god, that movie's so funny. Oh, it's great.
I didn't watch that Joe Exotic because I didn't really give a shit.
Yeah. All right, last up, probably the biggest news: Candyman pulled from October release and indefinitely delayed to 2021. So Candyman will now be released in sometime in 2021. The film has been said that it will not be coming to video on demand early because the director refuses to release the film that way because he says that it should be seen in an audience format in a theater. So I don't think we're going to be seeing that anytime soon on VOD. But
I want it now. Did you tell them that?
I'm going to have to wait now until 2021.
I kind of figured this was going to happen with that movie. It's one of the bigger releases of the
all
year.
Those big ones.
Right. I mean, why put all that effort into it just to release it on VOD? I mean, it's definitely a cinematic type film, I would assume. So,
yeah,
I get it.
I don't even think some of them got finished. Like Last Night in Soho or whatever. I don't even think it got finished.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. I read a bunch of films didn't get, and that's probably one of them. That's kind of a shame because that one sounded okay.
James Wan's film was supposed to come out in August. That fucking didn't come out. It sucks.
Yeah, so I mean, you can look at the pros and cons of this. A lot of these movies being pushed to 2021. I mean, if things kind of straighten out, hopefully they do. I mean, 2021 potentially could be a really good year. Potentially. Yeah. Right? So 2020 being a write-off, but 2021 could be making it up for it. Who knows? I guess
it'll be 1.5 years, 2021.
Yeah, right?
So that is it for the news.
Dude, that was really good. You did a good job on the news. Actually,
Yeah.
in fact, I think you were better than JP.
And you didn't
All
mention
right.
Friday 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, or Scream once.
That's why you were better. But honestly,
I was
man,
actually interested in the shit you were saying, too.
yeah, your execution was very, very solid.
All right.
Might have to have
Fucking Mike Merriman over here.
might have to have a
Solid Mike
change
Merriman.
here. Fucking JP's getting fired. I love when JP's on the show. Can we just talk shit about him? I mean, we can talk shit about him when he's on the show, but yeah, he doesn't hear this anyways. So, but yeah, so that's the news. Good stuff.
Fucking thing sucks!
All right, so moving along.
The word I bring to you today is knowledge reigns supreme. You got no time to joke and play, cause knowledge reigns supreme.
For this week's knowledge, I thought maybe we might just do a top 10 anime horror films list. This particular list is brought to you by CBR.com. It's not really a
Never
top,
heard of them.
Yeah, it's not really a top 10 list. It was just kind of like, and the way I do these, I always just like type top 10 whatever into Google, and whatever comes up first, if it's decent, I'll usually use it. This one isn't specifically a top 10 list. It's actually dubbed as 10 scary anime movies you should watch this Halloween. So why not? This list was actually done 2019, so it's, last year's list, which is kind of interesting. So, but anyways, I mean, I guess it translates to top 10 horror, I guess, in a
Not
sense.
going to be much fight back from us like the top 10 rape revenge movies, because you know what? I don't think any of us are anime experts here.
No, I don't know. Probably will know none of these. Unless, like, Akira's on here.
Wicked City's on there, probably.
I did kind of scan through this, and I think there was only one movie I hadn't heard of, and actually most of these I've seen, so which is due to this show and Patreon, to be honest. But oh, sorry, I got the hiccups. But anyways, number 10, we have Paprika. Is actually a film that I do have to watch on Patreon. I've heard of this one, obviously never seen it. I've heard good things. You guys never seen this one?
No, but it's supposed to be what Inception. It's very similar to Inception. Came out before Inception.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yep.
Cool. This is the one I never heard of. Number 9, Spirited Away.
Oh, that's great. That's a Studio
I've seen that
Ghibli film.
Is
That's
that
a classic.
That's not a horror movie. That's a Nausicaa, you know what I mean?
You've never seen Spirit Away?
I don't know if I've seen Spirited Away. I've seen a bunch of his movies, like
man,
Nausicaa, The
that was-
Wind, and shit.
The
movie's
very last
amazing.
line in this, it says, the Studio Ghibli film has tons of horrific imagery. Maybe that's why it's here, just because it's got...
I guess so, a little bit. But that's a great fucking film.
Okay, so the one I hadn't heard of, you've actually seen, so that's
Yeah,
interesting.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah,
That's
I've never heard of
movie.
it. I've heard of this one, never seen it before. Someone actually mentioned this to me not too long ago, actually, which is Blood, the Last Vampire. So that's
Never heard of it.
that's just how I'd heard of it. Someone mentioned
I
it to
think
me.
I've
but-
seen the cover, actually, but I've never watched it.
Okay, so I mean, it's number 8. Number 7, which we've actually reviewed on this show. I believe this was done on the last anime show, Vampire Hunter D.
Yep. Love it. Great movie.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just such a blast. It's such a good one.
Top 10 out of 85 for me.
Yeah, man. Number 6, which is one I've watched and reviewed on this podcast, which is Wicked City. I expected to see that one on here. Wicked City is great. It's really great. Number 5 is Lily Cat. This was another one that was actually mentioned to me. Didn't know anything about it, but yeah.
Never heard of it.
You guys
What's
are
it called? Lily Cat?
Lily Cat, and cat is abbreviated C.A.T. So I don't know what that's all about, but number 4 is one I think I reviewed on the last What We Watch show, courtesy of Patreon once again, which is Princess Mononoke.
Seen that one. That's
Good
a classic.
Good film. This one has like tons of great releases. So yeah, it seems to be like kind of a classic anime film that everyone knows about and or has seen. So number 4, number 3, which we will be talking about later in the show, which is Ninja Scroll. Very kind of iconic. Everybody knows about Ninja Scroll. Most people have seen it. Number 2, which is Vampire Hunter D, Bloodlust. Now, this is crazy. This is actually above the original one because we'll get into this one.
Yeah.
We're talking about this one later in the show too, but I just thought it was so interesting that it was higher on this list because most people I've heard say that they like this one more than the first one, which again, we'll get into that. And number 1, I mean, I can't really argue if they're making a best of list right now or whatever. Another one I've seen and reviewed on this show, which is a fantastic film, and it's Perfect Blue.
Perfect Blue.
Yeah, this one was given to me by Jerry the Ginger, I believe, to review, and it's like
I reviewed it too on the show.
yeah, you did.
Yep.
It's essentially kind of a anime giallo in a sense, and it's really cool, man. It's just a really well kind of choreographed film. Narrative's really cool. But I highly recommend Perfect Blue. So, yeah, surprisingly, this list mostly I'd heard of and or seen, so that was kind of inviting. Because, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm an expert on anime films, horror, and other anime films at all, because I'm not. So, but I do enjoy them. So, but you guys got anything to add? Is there any that you've seen before that didn't make that list that you thought should maybe just be recommended?
TV series, The Guyver. It's not a movie, but I mean that's not really spooky. It's the super suits and stuff, bio booster armor. Guyver, the old one, and the new one's pretty good. I like both of those. Big fan of Guyver in general.
Not really an anime guy, to be honest. So
yeah, I just don't know much about it. Like from what I've seen, over the last couple of years and things like that. Like I said, Ninja Scroll I've seen a couple times over the years and stuff. But from what I've seen, kind of going back in time to some of these films that I obviously missed, but I've liked. They're enjoyable. I haven't seen anything horrible. But then again, we're not really getting really bad ones, so
yeah,
which is a good thing.
It's not like the TV show where there's like 8,000 episodes for one series, and it's impossible to watch it all at this point.
Yeah, there's like a million anime TV series, man. So, like, how many seasons of Dragon Ball Z is there? There's got to be like hundreds of those. I swear.
Yeah, there's thousands.
My friends
of
love that shit growing up, and I never really watched it. They always do the impersonations of the fucking era, like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I know. I used to work with a guy that was obsessed with it too, and he had like all the DVDs, and I was like, dude, how many episodes of this shit? And I can't remember what he said, but at that time, this was years ago, but it's still going, isn't it? It's crazy, man. Like it's kind of like a soap opera, like Days of Our Lives that's been going on for 50 years.
Oh, you don't want to look it up because there's multiple series. They aren't going to tell you.
In Dragon Ball Z, there's 291 episodes, and then there's Dragon Ball,
yeah.
And then there's Dragon Ball Super, which is 131. Dragon Ball Z Kai, which is 167. Dragon Ball, which has 153. It's like fucking crazy.
So it's kind of like the Power Rangers. Wasn't there like 30 different Power Ranger shows too?
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's like X-Men. They're like how they have the Uncanny X-Men, you know what I mean? They have like 40 fucking different renditions.
Okay, so that's a quick little knowledge.
42 shots.
Moving along into Deadmail. Jeremy, you got some Deadmail this week?
Kick the shit about the mail, man.
You've got mail.
Trust the mail, man. Now his ass is trash like a garbage can. Caught up in some shit with the mailman.
Yeah, Deadmail. So this is issue 217. This comes from October of 2002. And on the cover we have Ghost Ship, which is coming out pretty soon from Scream Factory.
Not a purchase for me.
Yeah.
That's a pass for me, dog.
Yeah. The movie looks fantastic. It's just not very good.
Not for a $30 Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I've never seen it, but I'm not paying $30 for it.
Lords of the Ring, The Two Towers, The Ring, Below, Red Dragon, and Saint Sinister.
What year was this from?
This is from Clive Barker's Saint Sinner, Too Gory for TV. It's from October 2002.
2002.
Yeah, so that's the remake of The Ring, I think.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right. This one comes... I just pulled this issue because it made me laugh because there's a lot of stuff. This is the issue right after Halloween Resurrection came out, so there's lots of funny stuff about Halloween Resurrection.
Is there one asshole that loves it?
All right, this one comes from Mark Sieber from Hampton, Virginia, and he writes, I just got back from seeing Halloween Resurrection, and I'm sad to say it's the worst Michael Myers story yet. It appears that the mentioned cynically hired hip-hoppers Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks to lure a new audience to the franchise. Unlike New Line, which made Jason X fun, a poisoned confection to longtime fans of the Friday series, probably the most nauseating moment of this Halloween are when Buster is making idiotic chop-socky noises when facing Michael. I went to see Halloween Resurrection out of a misguided feeling of loyalty, and I do admit to feeling a comfortable moment or two of nostalgia as John Carpenter's classic Halloween score filled the theater at the beginning of the film. That good feeling ended quickly. This ugly new entry in the series is the worst horror sequel I've ever paid to see. From Laurie's Terminator 2-esque escape from the hospital to obligatory springboard for yet another sequel, this ought to be the last nail in the coffin of this once proud series.
Okay, A couple things.
People forget all the other sequels. Like, this is the one that did it. Every time a bad Halloween movie comes out, like, this is it. This is the last straw.
I mean, at this point, it was pretty bad, though.
Yeah.
But a couple things.
Great series.
I mean, I agree with them. You know, it's pretty bad. I like the reference to the fucking Laurie Terminator escape. That's fucking hilarious. Because, like, I always refer to New Halloween as being the Rambo Laurie, which is fucking funny. But a couple things. First up, Tyra Banks, he referred to Tyra Banks as a hip hopper. No, yeah. She's just black. That doesn't mean you're in the hip hop culture. It's kind of racist to say that, to be honest.
Probably,
she's
just no idea.
Yeah, and going back to Busta Rhymes, it's not Buster Rhymes. That's ridiculous. We're not talking about Buster Douglas here, man. It's Busta. So get your shit straight.
Buster's the only guy ever named Buster. Is Buster Douglas and your dog.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm a white Jewish boy. I don't know any better.
No. I imagine you're reading it how it's written. It probably says Buster, doesn't it?
No, it says Busta.
Oh, okay. So you just pronounce it like a Jew. That's hilarious. But anyways, yeah, I just thought that was funny. Hip hoppers, Busta Rhymes, and Tyra Banks. I'm like, no.
Was Tyra Banks even like? Was she a musician? I thought she was just an actress.
She was a model.
Actress, yeah.
See, I didn't fucking. I would never even thought she was involved with.
She was a model turned actress turned. Then she had her own television show. She had her own talk show for a long time. Tyra Banks show. And he's right about Busta Rhymes. I mean, Busta Rhymes is actually legitimately amazing, but as an actor, no. But it's a whole nother story. Yeah.
All right. This one comes from Brian from Delco, North Carolina. Hats off to Rick Rosenthal for making a great Halloween film. I was skeptical at first since Michael Myers. I was skeptical at first since Michael Myers was decapitated by Laurie Strode in 1998's H2O. I liked the wrong guy scenario and thought the film delivered nothing but blood, fright, and a great script. Though I was disappointed that Laurie was killed, I enjoyed the film very much. I can only imagine and hope that this is the start of a new beginning for the franchise. I often wonder if John Carpenter would ever come back to the director's chair for another Halloween. Whatever the case, I look forward to Part 9. But why was Tyra Banks' murder scene cut out? That's it.
Dude, I love how in the beginning he's like, at first I was skeptical because Mike Myers got his head cut off.
I mean,
what? That was come on,
dude.
man.
There actually is somebody that liked this movie. Of course, no mention of the shitty Busta Rhymes character.
Was that Justin Patrick? Signed Justin Patrick?
Double
or
shit
Sam
taste
Edwards?
J.
Probably Sam Edwards.
Double shit taste J. Oh my god, that's awesome.
He would stick up for it just to be a contrarian.
He does. He completely does. I mean, he was an advocate for, you know, all the hate for Friday 5 and of course Friday 9.
I love Friday 5, but Freddy's dead.
But
remember that?
But the thing is though, man, you know, back in the day, everybody hated Part 5 because of the whole fake Mike Myers thing.
You mean fake Jason?
Did I say Mike Myers? Oh yeah, because we're talking about Halloween. Yeah, fake Jason. But anyways, yeah, he's always been the one to defend Jason Goes to Hell, and I'm just like, I don't get it. Because that movie's just rubbish. And then, of course, Freddy's Dead. He does the same thing with Freddy's Dead, which is just not right.
He kind of ate shit a little bit on that show. He was like, because I was telling him, I was like, dude, I used to love Freddy's Dead. I rewatched it. It's shit. It's not a good movie. It's subpar.
What?
And Mike was like, oh, it's all right. Mike hasn't rewatched it in like 10 years either. I know he hasn't. He says bullshit. But then JP kind of ate shit. He was like, yeah, it wasn't very good.
No.
He's like, it went down.
It's like the open, like there's like 5 good minutes in the movie and then it just takes a huge donkey shit, man. It's absolutely unforgivable, man.
There's one great line, though. Every town has an Elm Street.
I believe Derek was lighting fucking JP up on the last show, too. Didn't he say something?
He was trying to give him half a star. He was like, half a star. Freddy's Dead is not half a star. That's absurd.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, but no, I think Derek said something on the lines of
not even a Hall of Fame.
He'd rather get raped in an iron lung than watch Freddy's Dead again.
I don't even know what the fuck.
Jesus Christ, I missed that one.
I was like, what the? I think I heard. I don't think I heard that either. But Derek said he said it, and I was like, what the fuck?
He did say it. He did say it. I heard iron lung in there.
Like where he came up with the iron lung is just beyond me, but that's pretty fucking funny.
Basically, you're crippled. You can't do nothing. You have a lung breathing for you. Somebody goes in there where you can fucking stand just to watch yourself get raped.
Oh no, it's because all the shitty jokes in that movie just take the air right out of you, man. You need a fucking iron lung, man. Ugh,
the acting is bad, and all the characters suck, and it just has no transitions. I was watching, I was like, what's happening here? Why? What the fuck is happening?
Nobody ever yeah, the acting is really bad in the movie, but no one ever mentions how shitty fucking Freddy's makeup looks too. It's atrocious in that movie. It doesn't even look like his face at points doesn't even look like it's even that burnt. It's just
Dude,
bad.
Robert Englund couldn't show up. He got real sick on that set. They actually just like had a guy with a pizza on his face for like half the There's like a pepperoni on his eye. He's like, I can't see, man. Take it off.
He's too busy playing fucking Nintendo. He's too busy playing Nintendo with the Power Glove, man. Fuck.
Yeah.
Cut the fucking buttons with his fucking claw.
God, that's bad.
All right. Matt Serfini writes, I just wanted to drop a quick line about the misfortune I had in seeing Halloween Resurrection this weekend. Why I paid my $3.50 to see this movie, I'll never know.
$3.50. Nice.
Yeah, he's complaining about $3.50.
Dude, I was still paying $9.50 in 2002. Go fuck yourself.
But curiosity got the better of me, and I'm still reeling from this garbage even now. Dimension took everything that made the franchise work. At least the sixth film had a spooky Halloween atmosphere and turned it into a schlocky direct-to-video quality MTV movie. Filled to the brim with non-characters, even the worst Halloween movie had decently developed heroines. Bad acting, quasi-philosophical dialogue. If you're going to try to duplicate the discussions of Fate from Part 1 and 7, at least make them fit into the film somehow. And a god-awful storyline that even managed to make the Curse of Thorn plot seem decent. This is just about the worst slasher sequel I've ever had the misfortune to witness theatrically. All the series suspense and integrity is gone, and Michael doesn't stalk anyone. He just pops up to chop a head off here and there, and then vanishes for a bit. There are so many low points in this turkey that I'm not going to get into them, but let me say that the sight of Busta Rhymes battling Michael with Kung Fu while shouting "Trick or treat, motherfucker" was enough to make me realize that the series is indeed finished for good. I know they left it wide open for another film with an ending so hawky and low grade that even the worst DTV movie would be embarrassed by it. But this was I guess that means direct video. But this was the first time the series ceased to be at least remotely scary. It's too damn bad that Dimension Films saw fit to make a mockery of a series that has managed to retain at least some integrity over the 20-plus years it's been around. If a Halloween 9 comes along, count me out. I'll stay home that night and watch Halloween 4 again.
Oh, so you're just going to punish yourself some more? What an idiot.
Yeah, no shit.
I made the mistake of doing that. I think last year I watched Halloween 4 again, and I was like, man, this movie's garbage, man. It's just garbage.
Maya's evil paycheck. Every time I hear about the Halloween sequels.
Man, he was talking about shitty-ass MTV movie or horror movies and shit, man. Fuck. You know, this obviously came out before my Super Psycho Sweet 16 that came out in 2009, but that's an MTV movie that I actually enjoyed. Did you ever see
I'd
those
rather
movies?
watch that. No, there's 3 of those. I'd rather watch that than Halloween 5, 6, or 7, or 8.
They're surprisingly not that bad. We reviewed the trilogy on here years ago, and I think we were all pleasantly surprised that they're not like the worst things you ever seen. Especially the first one, they go downhill, you know, with 2 and 3, but even by the third one, it's not even that bad. It's crazy.
It's like a 5 or a 6.
I just think that people would never check these out because they're like dubbed as MTV horror films, and it's like, oh fuck, how bad is this going to be? But do you remember them, Jeremy?
I had to work.
Oh, you weren't on that show?
No.
Fuck.
Was Derek on that show?
No, Schreier was.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he was on there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was gobbling cocks on that one for sure.
Yep. All right. Sean Francis from Clarksburg, Massachusetts writes, I recently saw 8-Legged Freaks and was so disappointed that I needed to dash off this letter. My favorite horror subgenre is nature run amok films, more specifically giant bug movies. I'm a sucker for anything with a mutated spider, tarantula, Earth vs. the Spider, and in later years, Dan Curtis's Curse of the Black Widow. It bothers me that Dean Delavan and Ronald Emmerich say that they're fans of the 50s bug movies, yet crank out an inferior film such as 8-Legged Freaks. My problems with it are many, but what bothers me the most, a problem a lot of horror movies have as of late, is this: comedy. I prefer horror movies to play themselves straight and to the bone, and my God, wouldn't a spider the size of a Dodge induce a mind-blowing surge of incomparable terror? I guess not to Devin and Emmerich. Sure, some of the townsfolk appeared horrified. Some actually screamed, but when David Arquette is able to stand mentally unaffected by an advancing anachronid and squirt perfume in his face, not to mention the stupid anaconda-like reaction from the beast, well, that is when someone has to stand up and implore filmmakers to stop watering down horror movies. For God's sake, let's see what a giant spider could really do mentally and physically to a human being. I speak for the masses when I say, let's see the real face of horror again. With that on my system, was there any explanation as to why a diverse group of spiders would seemingly work together, considering that normal anachronids are cannibals? I guess toxic waste erases tension along the mutated, or why the movie's orb weavers didn't construct a type of circular webs. Oh, fuck off. I'm done reading this douchebag.
Also, they probably the same reason they work together is the same reason they could fucking walk weighing that much weight.
Why is this guy even trying to break this shit down, man? I mean, it was titled Ache Leg Freaks, and it had David Arquette in it. What did you fucking expect?
I went to see Street Trash, and it was trashy.
Like, yeah, man. Shit. Like, you can just tell a comedic movie by its title most of the time. I mean, Eight-Legged Freaks. Come on, with David Arquette. Fucking shut up, man. Like, what an idiot.
What do these people expect? He saw the trailer.
This guy's literally looking for logic in a movie that's obviously a fucking horror comedy or a comedy horror.
Yeah, like that's what I always said about the Child's Play 3. People are like, why is that carnival there? Why is there a fucking killer doll?
But the carnival actually makes sense because most carnivals are in those...
They're saying that. Like, it's a very, like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Like, who gives a fuck at that point?
It's just things to fucking bitch about when you don't have anything to bitch about, so you start nitpicking. I mean, we've all done that before, but I mean, sometimes you got to be like, dude, are you serious?
Is this worth writing down and sending a letter?
Exactly. I'm not gonna take the time to fucking write into Fangoria and try to explain away Eight-Legged Freaks. Are you fucking kidding me? Dude.
All right. This one comes from Glenn Allen, Easton, Pennsylvania. And he writes, I take exception to Matthew Caron's review of The Watcher in the Woods.
Did you just assume that person's gender?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, the only Glenn that I know is a chick is Glenn.
How about it's Glenn or Glenda?
I was just going to say that. Glenn or Glenda.
Ed Wood, man.
Ed Wood, or it's fucking the shitty-ass Child's Play remake. Ugh.
I take exception to Matthew Caron's review of The Watcher in the Woods DVD in issue 213. I saw Watcher in 1980 with my mother when I was in 9th grade, and we were terrified. To be fair, Mom got me interested in horror movies, so it wasn't as if we were two chickens in a carnival haunted house. We found the mystery of the girl's disappearance intriguing and thought all the pieces came together nicely in the end. I finally read the book about a year ago and saw the movie on video and was just as scared as I was in 1980. I'm 35 years old, have loved horror movies for years, and don't consider myself easily spooked by any means. Caron slams Watcher just as Siskel and Ebert did in 1980. They diversively laughed it off the screen, saying it didn't make sense. The movie actually makes more sense than some of the movies they couldn't praise enough. I'm afraid Caron's opinion that Watcher is a sneeze fest is very much his opinion. The movie blends the vicious camera shots of Friday the 13th and the following mystery and good old-fashioned scares that horror fans have loved for years. If you have not seen Watchers, you've been missing out. I don't even know what that movie is.
Watcher in the Woods is the Disney horror movie.
Oh,
is Bette Davis in that one?
Yeah, it's when Disney made really, really good.
Like Something Wicked This Way Comes, which is fantastic.
Yeah, man. You know, Return to Oz and things like those really kind of dark fucking, you know, kind of kid-friendly horror films that were kind of made for just adults. Families could watch them, and you would actually be scared if you were a kid. Yeah. That was a really interesting era for Disney. But that's a good one. You've never seen that one before, Jeremy? That's crazy.
I've never seen that one either. I've seen Something Wicked This Way Comes and Return to Oz. Something Wicked was one of my favorites as a kid.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's kind of funny how we keep bringing up movies that kind of relate back to 85.
Should do a Disney horror movie thing with like Something Wicked This Way Comes, Watcher in the Woods, and maybe like Return to Oz or Black Hole.
I'm positive that got brought up sometime. It never came to light though, but I would love to do that. It's great. There's a lot of good ones.
All right. Last up, we have some nobody's name, just an email. Since you guys are the horror authority, who better to ask about these movies? Hypercube, Cube 2, what's the deal? It was supposed to come out in June. Now it's not due out until April 2003. Any chance you guys can find out what's happening? Also, Return of the Living Dead 4 Necropolis. Apparently this movie slipped right under every horror fan's radar because it is supposedly coming out next week. The Internet Movie Database has cast, crew, everything listed on its site. They claim the release date is July 16th, 2002. Any details? And they said, Cube 2 has indeed been delayed till next spring. As for Return of the Living Dead 4, there wasn't even a start date at press time. That information was probably posted by the overzealous producers. It's further proof that you can't trust everything you read on IMDb.
And yeah, I think they actually filmed part 4 and 5 together, so there would have been 2 releases, I think.
And they got released 2005.
Yeah, in 2005, and they both came out around the same time. Yeah, because part 4 and 5 actually surprisingly have continuity to the rest of the series and actually have some of the same characters. It's pretty interesting.
Did they have continuity to Chud 2? Which is the real Return of the Living Dead Part 3?
Negative. I mean, really, would you rather watch...
like a return movie.
I know that you like Chud 2, whatever the fuck it's called. But do you like Return of the Living Dead Part 3?
I like all the 3 of the Return of the Living Deads. I don't know what this 4 and 5 they keep talking about are, though.
They're 2005, so...
I don't know what those are.
I got bored a couple months ago during quarantine.
Not real.
And so I was like, you know what? Fuck this, man. I'm going to watch all the Return of the Living Dead movies. So obviously I've seen the first 3 like 100 times. And then I'd only ever seen part 4 once, and I'd never finished part 5. And I couldn't remember it. So I ran through them all and watched, and I was like pleasantly surprised that, like, you know, with the continuity and, you know, kind of, and honestly part 4 and 5 are always the bastard child of that franchise. People are like, oh, they're shit because they're TV films. And that was kind of the big selling point for people's hate was, oh, they're shitty ass TV films and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, whatever. You know, in reality, you watch these movies, you know, all 15 years after they come out, and they're actually not as bad as they would have been back then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because now we get like Day of the Dead 2 Contagium and fucking Day of the Dead 2 different remakes that were unwatchable.
Yeah, man. But I was like 2005. I'm thinking to myself going into these, I'm like, man, there's gonna be a ton of bad CG and stuff. Honestly, there was from what I can remember now, because it's like 4 months ago, I drank a lot in the summer. But there was a lot of practical effects and the continuity, and actually they just weren't as bad as whole movies as people are making out to be. And I'm like, I know people just stay away from them. I've even seen people on YouTube even like break their DVDs and on camera and like, I'm not watching this shit again. I'm like, God. It's not the worst shit in the world, man. It's not fucking science crazy.
A little over dramatic, right?
A little bit over dramatic.
DVDs and shit.
But I'm just telling people,
it's
man.
It's not like it's Cuties or something. Relax.
Right? If you watch these movies back in the day and you hated them, and, you know, all this time, there's been time to kind of oppress those feelings and go back to them maybe. But it's another franchise I'd like to do on this podcast, which I'm surprised it hasn't been chosen.
You guys haven't done Return yet?
No, and
I think you guys would laugh at my ratings for part 2.
I think it's because, you know, everybody and their dogs talked about Return of the Living Dead, obviously, but I mean, and part 3 gets talked about. 2 has kind of gotten a cult following again. I mean, for years people didn't like it, and all of a sudden people love it now. It's weird. But 4 and 5,
I've always loved 2.
Maybe we can do something about part 4 and 5. I'm sure Jeremy will hate them because he hates zombie movies in general. But for myself, they're okay.
Part 2 is a kids movie. So is Chud 2. They're just kids movies.
Part 2 is
somehow got rated R.
It's so much fun, dude. Like all the stupid parodies, like the Michael Jackson Thriller parody, and there's just dumb shit in that movie.
Last minute, they almost cut that out, but they just put it in anyways.
I'm glad. Honestly, Tarman is so goofy in this one, though.
Yeah,
it's so fucking goofy, but it's a fun movie. It's fun.
I like it a lot. It's a kids movie.
I love the music in it too, man. It's great.
Yeah, and the opening is great with the go rag go where the barrel's falling out. I love that scene.
Yeah, it's actually one of my favorite scenes in the movie. It's good shit.
All right, this one comes from Jerry from Tennessee, and he writes, did you listen to that retard Jeremy Freeman on episode 189 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast where he said Child's Play 3 is his favorite Child's Play? Oh, sorry. Anyway, let's keep going.
That wasn't bad. You should have kept that going. That was actually not too bad.
All right. Anchor Bay haunts video stores this Halloween, and we got Sleepaway Camp, Near Dark, all the Halloweens. So that's pretty cool. All right, this is what's coming out on VHS and DVD in October 2002. Let's see, we have Addicted to Murder from Sub Rosa, Dark Shadows, Dead 7 from Brain Damage,
ooh, all the good ones.
Insaniac and Ravage.
That's Sub Rosa.
From Sub Rosa, Meat Market, and Savage Harvest.
Sub Rosa.
Savage Harvest? I like Savage Harvest. It's good.
Meat Market's not bad either.
Yeah, Meat Market's actually not bad. There's what, 2 sequels? 3 of those?
There's 3 Meat Markets. I've only seen the first 2. The second one's actually a pretty big independent movie for like as far as like scale.
Yeah, I need to get 2 and 3. Actually, I've never seen them. So
never seen 3.
All right, then we have POV from Sick and Twisted Productions.
Don't know what that is.
The Surge from First Look.
Don't know what that is.
Sweet House of Horrors from Shriek Show.
Yeah, Fulci.
Vampire Strangler, Zombie 3, and Zombie Fest from Tapeworm.
The fuck?
Wow.
And we have All Monsters Attack, Bloody Birthday / Horrors of the Black Museum,
Wow.
Brotherhood of the Wolf, Butt Crack from Troma.
Butt crack, so nuts. That's funny though. Butt crack.
Yeah, I got it.
Castle of Blood from Synapse. So even Synapse was around back then. Coffin Joe Trilogy. Cold Hearts from Synapse.
Lost. That's the Vampire Man.
Yeah, that's a weird one. That's a weird
It's
film.
like Lost Boys with. It's like the cheap Lost Boys. Or something.
It is kind of like the Lost Boys. I think that's how I dubbed it when I reviewed it. Actually, it's like a cheap version of the Lost Boys.
It's got Pink Ranger in it.
Yeah.
Dr. Gore from Image. Don't Look Down from Artisan. Dr. Shock's Tales of Terror.
Those are like real cheap, low budget.
Yeah, this was that era, right? You know, like just tons of independent, like really bad shit though. But
Eaten Alive from Shriek Show. Elvira's Haunted Hills. Eight-Legged Freaks. Fear in the Night / To the Devils. A Daughter from Anchor Bay. Graduation Day from Troma. Guinea Pig 3 from Unearthed Films. Hellraiser Hellseeker. Hercules Against the Moon Man. Jason Goes to Hell. Jigsaw from Full Moon. Monsters from a Prehistoric Planet.
What?
And Patrick from Elite.
Okay.
You guys ever seen Jigsaw, the one that Full Moon released?
No.
I think I watched it or reviewed it a couple years back or whatever. I think it was pretty shitty.
That's a bad Full Moon time. That might be the worst Full Moon.
Oh yeah. There's definitely a lot of shit that came out from Full Moon in that time.
All right, and these are the films that were coming out in theaters in 2002. I don't remember seeing this in there, but we've been, running a little short, so we'll keep going. October 4th, we have Red Dragon. October 11th, we have Below. October 15th, we have Hellraiser Hellseeker. October 18th, we have Abandon and The Ring. October 25th, we have
Hellseeker got a theatrical release?
No, direct-to-video.
Oh, direct-to-video. Oh, okay. I was like, what? I thought you said theatrical.
Yeah. Well, that's what it says, but then in parentheses it says direct-to-video, so I don't know why it says that.
Because only the first 3 got...
Yeah, four got theatrical.
Oh, the fourth one did? I'm sure we talked about that.
Very small, though, didn't it? Get the small one? Or what? Or no, maybe 4 didn't. Maybe 4 was direct-to-video.
I'm pretty sure it was just the first 3. I seen the third one in theater, actually.
Yeah. Maybe 4 was.
All right. October 25th, Ghost Ship. November 5th, Dog Soldiers. And then we have winter / spring of 2003. We have House of a Thousand Corpses in May. January 10th, Tales Not Told. January 17th, Sin Eater. January 31st, Fear the Dark, a.k.a. The Tooth Fairy. Let's see. February 2003, Dreamcatcher. April 18th, 2003, Jeepers Creepers 2. July 18th, 2003, Exorcist prequel. There was an Exorcist prequel in 2003.
Yes.
Exorcist the beginning, and then Dominion.
And then
I
Dominion
thought those came out later.
But those in 2003 though.
I thought they'd be 2005, but hey, what do I know?
Yeah, it was around that era. I can't remember.
Listen to this.
Didn't watch them in theater.
Saw it in theaters. Saw Exorcist beginning in the theaters.
Listen to this. This is what horror was like in 2003. This is what came out on Halloween Day in 2003. Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, The Butterfly Effect, Constantine, Darkness, Doctor Sleep, whatever that is, Final Destination 2, The Gathering, House of the Dead, and Love Object, and Willard. Those all came out on
Love
Halloween.
Object's decent too. Man, that's pretty decent for Halloween releases.
I mean, that's crazy. We don't get that many fucking horror movies now.
The Willard remake.
Not seen that. I've seen the original and Ben. I like both those.
Yeah, it's Crispin Glover again.
Yeah.
And that should be it for Deadmail.
I always wish that he did a lot more horror movies, man. Because do you ever see that one Simon Says that he did?
No. Good?
It actually wasn't bad. Like, his performance is great in it.
I just watched River's Edge last week again, and he's awesome.
He's fucking fantastic in that movie.
Oh, I haven't seen River's Edge forever, man.
Dennis Hopper is one of his best roles in that movie.
Yeah, it's one I gotta pick up. Didn't Kino Classics release that?
Yeah.
So I should grab that Blu-ray.
Should grab it soon. Some of the stuff's going out of print.
Yeah, I know. Fuck, Kino just releases so much stuff, though. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Daniel Roebuck in it, when he robs the liquor store, the gas station or whatever, and then Dennis Hopper walks up unconcerned.
Do you have any Bud Light in the bottles?
No, he's like, you got any Bud and cans or something? Bud and bottles?
Bud and bottles.
He's all... Dude, and then the best dialogue in that movie is when he's like, yeah, I killed her. He's like, did you love her? She's all right. She's okay, because Dennis Hopper killed his woman for like a crime of passion.
Yeah,
he can't understand Daniel Roebuck.
That's a great film.
Awesome. All right, that's Deadmail.
Yep.
All right, so that is Deadmail.
Hey yo, it's about that time for the 22 Shots crew to get buck wild and do what we do. You got that fatty in hands, so throw us a few, and we gon' hit your ass up with a bonus review.
Alrighty, so getting into the bonus review here on episode 190. It is a Patreon pick coming from Jeremy. Do you know who this is coming from? My God, I'm so bad at this. I just realized I did not actually put the name down.
Tom Brooker.
Tom Brooker. There you go. And it's a film from 1990 called The Reflecting Skin.
Yeah, buddy.
This is actually a movie that Jeremy sent me years ago on DVD because I'd never seen it. So kind of a little bit of history. I do have the Blu-ray now. Do you guys have the Blu-ray of this?
I have the Canadian Blu-ray and a German Blu-ray.
Nice.
I had the Echo Bridge DVD, but I know it's on Blu-ray now.
I have that DVD as well.
Yeah,
Jeremy.
That's the one that you sent me. Yeah, I got to say, the Blu-ray, man.
I wish I didn't send you Freaks on Blu-ray. That fucking thing is like $100 now.
I know, right? It goes for crazy money.
I was like, God damn it.
Which Freaks? Do you know the Todd Browning?
No.
Freaked.
Freaked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I have that Blu-ray too. But by Alex Winter. But it has all the features cut out, so you got to keep your DVD anyways from Anchor Bay.
Yeah, I never had.
I know. I'm just saying it's like going for like $80 now.
I have both. For some reason.
Yeah.
So let's get into a quick little synopsis here. The Reflecting Skin, 1990. In the 1950s, a young boy living with his troublesome family in a rural USA fantasizes that a neighboring widow is actually a vampire, responsible for a number of disappearances in the area. I mean, okay, whatever.
You know what this... Can I say something?
Yep, go ahead.
This movie reminded me a lot of Afraid of the Dark from 91. It has very similar kind of idea here where we see through the eyes of a child and what he perceives is happening in the world and what's not really real and what's really happening. That's very similar to Afraid of the Dark from 91.
Afraid of the Dark has more of kind of a blatant idea because of the whole glasses thing, right?
Yeah.
But
this one, there's definitely a weird... I don't even want to call it... Is it a coming of age story? I think it is. Like,
I don't really consider it a horror movie, to be honest.
You know, this is one of those kind of strange things, and I agree, Dave, because, you know, when you look at this movie, it does feel like a coming of age film. It feels like a romance at times, like a romantic drama almost with the brother and the neighbor, and then it feels like...
Days of Heaven.
It feels like a gothic... It feels at times it could be gothic.
Southern Gothic. But it's even in the South, it's probably the Midwest. Is Iowa, right?
I know. I mean, really, the first thing you see when you see this, like, this imagery, this rural setting is like kind of it has this American Gothic type feel, this Southern kind of Gothic tale.
Definitely that.
And it's got, you know, it is really strange. So it kind of has this horror feel to it with this really odd atmosphere and shit. So it has all these different types of elements in this movie that you can kind of decide what you want it to be yourself, I guess. You know, it's just such a weird film. Like I've watched Reflecting Skin 3 or 4 times now. I actually talked about this one in my 1990 What series because a lot of people had never heard of this, and I thought maybe you'd get out there kind of thing. And you know, the first thing I noticed with a film like this is the contrast is like super amazing in this movie because what we see visually, you know, you see this, you know, this beautiful kind of yellow wheat setting, you know, in this rural area where this area to most people is kind of, it's like a good area. You know, nothing evil should be happening in these type of rural areas and stuff. Like the evil and all those bad things usually happen in the city and, you know, with lots of people around and stuff. And it gives that appeal to you that like
it's
everything.
The David Lynch effect.
It is. Sure. It is. It has everything making you seem like everything should be all right. But then it has this really, really dark narrative to it in so many different elements. Like this little boy who lives in this house, and his mom is obviously very abusive, not only towards him, but his father too. And his father has.
But his father's a pervert, though.
Well, that's the thing.
No, he's not actually. It's complicated. It's way more complicated.
It's implied.
They said.
I don't think that they went into it enough. I think that was one thing that they could have went into a little bit, because it's all of a sudden just implied that his father was kissing boys and may have molested little boys, but it's not really proven, because
I feel like that probably happened
I just feel
like 25 years ago when he was around probably like 25 and the kid was 17, which is still gross, but in the 40s it's different. But also it shows this disgust in the small town, how they're completely unable to accept anybody different.
Well, yeah, but what do you think that translates to the people in the black Cadillac? I mean, there has to be some kind of connection between, because they're rapists and killers. That's what I got out of it, at least, that they're kidnapping kids and raping them and killing them.
I don't know
Some
if
people don't even believe that the people in the Cadillac are real.
Yeah, see, I could see.
I mean, but that's what I was. But that was what I was going to say. Is it a figment of the kid's imagination because his father did this to him, so he has suppressed this?
That father never molested that kid.
No. I think
never even suggested.
I can see
the
where
mother's
people
abused.
Yeah, I can see where people
been shut down by the mother.
Yeah, for sure. I can see
He's
why
gay.
people
the
would
father's
think that.
Gay, and he's stuck in a marriage that he has no love, and the mother's mad about it.
Yeah, I can see where people are coming from with believing that the black car isn't actually real, but I think there is evidence. There is evidence in the movie that they're actually are physical people and stuff. Because I mean, there's a point in the film where they actually get their vehicle filled up from the little boy right in front of and there's other points in the film where they're definitely physical people. It's not hallucinatory.
Really interesting because he was an artist. Movies. Yeah, and all his movies are very really focused on the looks of them. He based this movie off paintings, like Midwest paintings he saw with the bright blue skies and the golden fields, and he obviously wanted to make something dark into something beautiful and rural. And he also mentioned that this movie is basically about this kid finally learning how to have emotions and feel. So I think there's that scene where the guy in the Cadillac originally sees the kid and he says, "What's your name?" And he talks to him. It almost seems like he's talking to him in a certain way, like he's like he knows that there's something off with this kid, because this kid is kind of like a sociopath, to be honest. He doesn't have emotions like other people. He's not bothered by the gross things, and he's a bad influence on his other friends, and he just doesn't understand things like other people. So when he interacts with that guy in the Cadillac, I feel like the guy in the Cadillac sees maybe himself in him.
I think it's a direct result of the abuse that he suffered as a child, not like maybe physically, but his mother's so mentally and physically abusing and stuff that it's kind of created this, this, I wouldn't say monster in him, but it's created almost like a sociopathic mind state.
Yeah.
And
because he doesn't reflect he doesn't enact any emotions that happen, all that fucked up shit. He just doesn't get emotional.
The setting also contributes to him being very naive too. He lives in a rural area where everything is very everything is suppressed and stuff, and everything's factual and matter.
And everybody's religious,
and you got the sheriff who's the goofiest fucking character in this movie. Like he's missing, he's got a fucked up hand, he's missing an eye and shit, but this guy's dead set on the father doing these murders. Even after the fact, there's this really horrific scene in this film where the father gets accused of something and he can't take it anymore because it's been years and years of like mental abuse on him and stuff, and he literally drinks gas, lights himself on fire in front of his little boy and dies. But later on in the film, there's a point where another murder happens and the cop is still hell-bent and he's still convinced that the father has done these crimes and shit, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's this really strange Lynchian type characters in this movie, and going back to the contrast here, like what we see is so beautiful in this dark narrative, but it comes off very, very David Lynch, man. It's just, I love it, man. The contrast is what really sells this movie, because it fucking sucks you in so much. Because like, for me, one of the things I always complain about movies is, sometimes they run too long, and you have to suggest that the running time is too long. In this one, I could have watched another 30-40 minutes of this movie. It's so intriguing to me. I feel like it just could have kept going, man. And start going into different territories and explaining things and stuff. And there's a lot of symbolism in this film too. I mean, everything with symbolism, it's always kind of up to interpretation too, unless there's direct symbolism to do with, frogs and things. There's a scene in the beginning with this frog, which is really fucking bizarre because it's like the opening scene in the film where these kids, but this is also, again, the direct result of kids living in a rural area that don't really have a lot to do. Remember, this is 1950s. There's no video games. There's no iPads. There's no internet, shit like that. The kids used to play outside. Remember those fucking days? I do. They were fun. So what they do for fun is they put a straw up a frog's ass and blow it up, and then literally, and I got to say, the slingshot shot with the rock that blows up the the fucking frog is hilarious. It's like, I don't know, it's not supposed to be funny, I don't think, but anyway,
I think it's supposed to be ridiculous because you think the kids are just playing with frogs, and then they just do this horrible fucking act right off the bat where you're like, "Fuck these kids."
Exactly, exactly. But there is symbolism with the frog, though. I can't remember. Frogs are there's a lot of symbolism with frogs and stuff. I'm not really too into that type of stuff, but there is.
Well, the frogs are in Baskin. Remember all the frogs in Baskin that symbolize that they're part of like the switch over to hell.
Exactly.
But I don't know if it's the same.
Well, I've always read that frogs mean different things, like in reality to dreams and all this type of thing. I don't know. So I just feel like there's something there.
I just found it so interesting that Dolphin was so good to our main character. She was so kind of nice to him, and then the next day he goes back and he's like, "Let's trash it." And
the kid's a sociopath.
I just think that this shows you his upbringing and his connection to his emotions, and he never has felt good in his life and kindness and careness. So when he gets it, he doesn't know how to react to it.
He's the direct result of, again, going back to the abuse, the mental and physical abuse, and, obviously not having a very stable father and having a mother that he's scared of and shit. Like, he just kind of does what he wants. And going back to the frog thing, that's a direct result of him not giving a fuck, right? He just like blew up a huge frog, right? Without even caring.
His father is Ed Gein type. He's reading those dumb pulp novels like Ed Gein used to read, and completely delusional. And he's a pushover. He's like, just an outsider. He's like clearly, has a homosexual that was just trapped in a bad spot and just had to conform.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that scene too, where the kid kind of rolls up on his dad and he's like, "What are you reading?" kind of thing. And he's reading this book about vampires, and he explains to his son, what vampires are and what they do. They drink blood and that makes them live forever and blah blah blah. And of course, that gets into his head. Being a very naive 9-10-year-old boy who's never heard of this, he believes it. He completely 100% believes it. He ends up having this this pulp novel or comic book of this vampire story, whatever. And the woman on the cover of this book / magazine, whatever it is, looks exactly like his neighbor Dolphin. So he
just assumes.
He automatically assumes that she is a vampire, and it leads to him doing some fucked up shit in her house and stuff, and him totally believing that she's a vampire. And I like this development because it's just that disconnect with reality, right? It's just so unbelievably prevalent that he's just willing to believe this shit and do whatever and stuff. It's almost fucking scary. Like, that's the horror in it.
Killers have the fantasy, that fantasy element where they don't see reality the same way.
Yeah. Well, actually, okay, going back to the little kid and his mental mindset, I mean, he does come off as very much like a sociopath, kind of. He's almost incapable of understanding what reality is. And there's a bunch of scenes in this film where, he kind of unearths a mummified baby. And he essentially starts talking to this thing like it's talking back to him. Like, he's having conversations with this thing and stuff.
He thinks it's his reincarnated friend who died.
Yep.
Yeah, and like he just assumes that, right?
It's weird. They never really talk about what this thing is and where it comes from. That's kind of just like,
I think it's honestly somebody didn't want a baby, or it was a stillborn and they just ditched it there.
See, okay.
And it's been mummified. That's
been my question. Is it a real baby, or is it a figment of his imagination that he just developed this, because let's face it, some people with mental illnesses, they see things, they talk to people that aren't there. Maybe this was his way of kind of disconnecting from the reality that he thinks he knows.
On smells in his room? I can't remember. Did Viggo Mortensen, when he went in his room, notice a smell or anything?
I don't think so. The only time they ever talk about smells is when he mentions to the kid about the gas.
They always smell like gas, so maybe they couldn't smell the dead baby in the room. That's what I mean.
And that's what I was assuming, yeah, because gas is very overpowering too. But I mean, I assume it was there physically. It was somebody that ditched his baby. I mean, it kind of makes sense back in those days because, that's kind of, it was different back in those. People used to do fucked up shit with abortions and stuff, hide that stuff. And But yeah, no, that's a really interesting development in the movie. I mean, that kind of gives its straight horror appeal right there, where he's talking and doing some obviously ill-minded stuff.
You know what part is really kind of disturbing? There's a couple parts that get to me that are real emotional. When Dolphin talks about her age, how old do you think I am?
Yeah.
But the one that gets me is when Vigo talks about the story where he's in war and they had the nuclear stuff, and he's the baby, had the reflecting skin.
Yeah.
And he starts asking the questions, and like Vigo starts to get annoyed answering them. But you could tell like right away, like this family is just cursed because he obviously sick.
Yeah, he's not getting old. He's just sick from the nuclear stuff.
He's got radiation.
Yeah, that's why his hair is falling out. And I mean, if you're not watching close, you're probably not putting those things together. But yeah, of course. The kid thinks it's because the vampire is feeding on his blood and stuff, and he finds hair in his comb and things like that. And I kind of wish that they went into it a little bit more, because the brother's or the little boy is obviously terrified that his older brother that he looks up to is seeing this vampire character in Dolphin and stuff. And I wish they had have gone into that a little bit more, because there is times where he mentions, and he obviously acts like he does not want them together and stuff like that. But
that's his only person. He's possessive of his brother because he's the only one that's ever been there for him.
Yeah, and I wish they had went into that a little bit more. It seems like a little bit laid back in the narrative, but it is what it is, man.
Says that to his dad on his funeral. He says, "You never had a chance." That's what Vigo says to his dad. Mm-hmm. Never stood a chance.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the symbolism in this film, I mean, the symbolism with the black, what is it, Chev? I don't even remember what kind of car it is in the film.
I think it's Cadillac.
Is it a
Cadillac?
It is.
Yeah,
that's a 50-something Cadillac, yeah. Obviously, it's symbolizing death, because these guys are rolling around, literally killing people, which, they don't really go into. I mean, these are obviously just three kind of late teen, early 20 people that are just knocking off kids. And, the weird thing about that whole part of the narrative is that they're doing it so blatantly too. It's broad daylight. They're picking up these kids and shit's going down and stuff. And they're obviously molesters / murderers, because there's this really uncomfortable scene actually when they pull up in their black Cadillac too.
And he touches his chin. That's why I thought they were perverts.
Yeah.
They're he touched his face. So I was like,
yeah. And it's really, really uncomfortable. Like the kid is, filling up their vehicle, and he's like, hey, he says something to him, and he kind of touches his face in this really awkward way and shit. But going more into that, there's a scene later in the film where he actually sees one of his friends. I think it's Kim. I can't remember
the redhead kid.
The little redhead kid. Anyways, he was walking down the road with this American flag and stuff. And anyways, this black Cadillac pulls up on them, and he actually witnesses the abduction, and later he is found dead. But he never says anything.
He doesn't have the emotions. I don't know. Like it's hard to tell what he's actually thinking.
See, that's the thing that confuses me about the movie, is that this kid does come off very emotionless, sociopathic and stuff, but he has the raw emotion to save his brother against his vampire. Like, he cares enough in that aspect.
But he cares about himself, I think.
He cares about himself, but why? If you saw somebody get pulled into a car and he knows the direct result of what's going to happen here. Right? Because he knows these guys are fucked up and stuff. He's not retarded or anything, but he doesn't say anything to anybody. And he quite clearly he didn't witness the crime, or he witnessed the abduction, not the murder. But it's just kind of an odd development in the film. He's
scared of him too, I think.
I think that might be what it is. That's kind of what I conclude. Maybe he's too scared to say anything. Maybe he felt like he had no one to say anything to, because maybe he felt like his brother wasn't really going to listen to him because he's too caught up in his relationship and stuff. And his mom is obviously mentally gone after the father has been dead. He got really nobody. He doesn't trust the sheriff because the sheriff freaks him out, because the sheriff blames his father, even though he's deceased 6 feet under for these
the last
current murders.
He does on purpose.
Yeah.
The last one he does on purpose, and he finally feels that direct result of what he did. I don't know. It's almost like he wants these bad things to happen so he can have some sort of emotion. At the end, he finally does have a huge breakdown.
Well, I think it's because he saw how his brother reacted to it.
I think there's also everything in him. Finally, he snapped.
There's a moment of clarity. There's a moment of clarity there, because I think he may have realized that, oh shit, Dolphin couldn't have been a vampire because she died.
I think it was a reason that he realized that he is responsible for all these things that have happened, and he's done nothing.
Yeah.
Like everything that's happened, he finally had that breakdown. It all hit him at one time. And maybe, I know this sounds weird, but maybe he actually will turn out okay because he actually has remorse at this point.
You know what?
And he's angry.
I think he's also expecting to die, though, too, because there's this very, very great line in the end of the movie. Really haunting shit, man. When the guy driving the black Cadillac asks the kid if he wants a ride.
Yeah.
And he doesn't say no. He says, not yet. I think that's a very, very key and pivotal moment in the film, man. What kind of kid would say not yet?
It's also the kid learning about death too.
Yeah, he doesn't say no, get the fuck out of here. He says not yet. Like, maybe one day it's going to come. Right? I think there's a lot in there, maybe over my head, but I've noticed that a couple times I watched it. I'm like, man, it just gives me the chills when he says not yet. It's crazy.
Have you guys seen his other movies, like The Passion of Darkly Noon and Heartless?
I have seen Heartless. Yeah, I don't remember Heartless that well. I actually, when I seen Heartless, I didn't even realize it was the same director. I won't lie.
Yeah, but I share some similarities. Like, I do think, like, and then Passion of Darkly Noon's pretty interesting too. And I know it's not as most popular, but it also has like the huge contrast and the religious aspect. And Brandon Fraser is like a kind of a religious shut-in that escaped from a cult, and he doesn't see things the same way. And Vigo's in it. It's a pretty good movie. This one I think is his best.
Yeah.
Heartless is his next best, I think.
So I will mention that the kid's older brother in the movie is played by Viggo Mortensen. He's very young.
He's great in it.
It's got to be one of his first movies, I would assume. Maybe not. I wouldn't say bigger movies, but
is this before Prison? Is his first, probably, that we would know him from? 88. Right?
Yeah, probably one of his. Yeah, because this is 1990. I mean, he wasn't really.
He's in Young Guns too, as well.
Is he in Young? Oh fuck, man, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, he's the guy who says, "Time to take your medicine, boy."
But again, you know, like one is kind of, I wouldn't say bigger roles, but you know, it's a role that gets out there. But I mean, when did Viggo actually become big?
Well, I'm wondering what his breakthrough movie, Lord of the Rings.
Is it probably Lord of the Rings? Yeah, I guess, right? Shit.
Yeah, that's his big one. Big one for everybody.
Because I know he went on to work with Cronenberg and Eastern Promises and shit. I always remember
and
from that
he was
shit.
in Appaloosa, which is a pretty good Western from...
He's great in that movie.
Appaloosa is actually surprisingly good for a modern Western, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a good cast, though. That helps.
Yeah. I kind of like Viggo though, man. He's kind of got this odd kind of cadence about him that I like. You know, he comes off as being he kind of comes off as being an asshole in like almost every role for some reason. Maybe it's just his cadence, but I don't know what it is, man. But I don't know.
He always comes down as he's like kind of smug and smart.
Yeah,
I think he's a smart guy in real life.
He probably is.
Seems like he would be.
Yeah.
I've always liked him.
But yeah, man, The Reflecting Skin, it's a movie that is, to me, it's kind of unclassifiable. It's kind of like, you know, again, if that doesn't make sense to you, just think David Lynch. It's not as David Lynchy as a David Lynch movie, but it has those elements, you know, it has this odd contrast and has this dark subject matter with, you know, just very subtle things that are going on and a lot of symbolism and just oddness. I think it's a fantastic movie, man.
Me too.
I really, really do. And again, you know, I don't say it very often where I finish a movie and go, fuck, I wish there was more to it. You know, maybe some people might disagree with me, but I always get really sucked into this narrative and I just want to explore more things. And it's just a beautiful looking film. And I'm glad that he did that in the fucking flatlands of Alberta because those wheat fields are crazy. They look awesome.
Had to spray paint some of them, actually, to
make them brighter. Yep. He literally actually painted them. Yep. It's kind of a odd little thing to do, but he definitely did it. But yeah, so you guys have anything else? Anything else? Jeremy, you got anything else on it? I know you really wanted to talk about this one. I'm sure you have something else.
I really wanted to talk about it?
Yeah.
Not really. I never want to talk about anything. I'm just joking. No, it's a good movie. I don't think it's as fantastic as you guys think it is, but I still really enjoy it. I think it's a little slow at some points. I think the little kid does a really fantastic job. I think that's kind of something that's missing in today's movies, are really solid kid actors, and I think that he was really good in this movie. He wasn't too annoying like a lot of kid actors, but yeah, like you said, it's a beautiful movie. Has a Days of Heaven kind of feel to it. I think a lot of people connect that movie to this movie. It has similar cinematography as that film, but I've always liked it. I've seen it a couple times now, and it's pretty good.
I would put it, I'd say it's horror enough to include in a top 10 of 90, but there's 90s actually kind of a strong year for the 90s, but I'd say dark drama, fantasy, and then horror.
Yeah, I mean, I put this in the same kind of category as like a Lynch movie. Because
his movie, a little bit more horror oriented than Lynch, because it is about like murderers and possible weird, fantastic elements and a serial killer. He's kind of, you know, I mean, it's as horror as Don't Torture a Duckling, right?
for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Lynch's movies vary. I mean, Inland Empire, to me, just freaks me out. There's something about that atmosphere in that film that just fucking... It's got one of the greatest scares ever, too. Have you ever seen Inland Empire before?
No.
Oh, my God, man. It's such a fucking bizarre, weird movie. But, yeah. Anyways, that atmosphere is not to be fucked with. It's... I mean, people don't classify it as a horror film. I don't know what you would. I don't even know
if Eraserhead is horror. Eraserhead's a horror movie. That's a horror movie.
Yeah, it's just straight bizarre imagery, for sure. Yeah. So ratings, who wants to go first? Jeremy, why don't you go first?
8 out of 10.
Dave?
I was fighting where I wanted to go 8.5 or 9, so it's tough for me. This is a second time watch. 8.5. It could go up though.
Yeah, I'm at a 9. I really, really enjoy this movie, but it just has everything I like, man. So, but again, it's one of those things where I find myself thinking about it after and being like, I wish this was explored more. I wish this and this, it's a lot of times.
Wish this director made more movies.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Philip Ridley. I think he only did the 3 directed features, so.
I think this one left a bad taste in his mouth because, it was a theatrical release film that was not pulled, but it was out of theaters very, very quick. And, he found himself defending this movie because there was people that liked it and others that were so disgusted in the, in the content in the movie and stuff. And I think that he just, honestly, the way I see it is that he just got sick of, fucking having to explain himself over the movie and shit like that, that it probably maybe did something to his mentality, and he just fuck making movies.
2006 though.
People would discuss it from this, but they sat through Naked Lunch. That makes no fucking sense to me.
Naked Lunch, oh yeah, man.
That was the same people.
Naked Lunch is fucking great, man. The guy that where that's based off, the book that's based off of, oh man, it's trippy ass shit, dude. But yeah, man. So Reflecting Skin, that's a good one. It's a good film.
Yeah, buddy.
And now, our feature presentation.
Yo, who this?
Yo, Modes, it's your boy, the ill-mannered funky child, calling you to remind you that the featured reviews on this episode contain spoilers.
Aw, yeah, man, that's right, brother. Thanks for the heads up, player. Now go back to being an unproductive asshole.
Fuck you. I tell your listeners to stop being so dumb, silly, sensitive.
Yeah. All right, so getting into the featured reviews here on episode 190, and this is a director's spotlight, I'm going to say, from, how do you pronounce his name?
I had to do it last week, so you got to do it this week.
Yoshiaki Kawajiri?
All right, good enough.
I don't know. Really not great with Japanese names. They're just too many I's and J's.
Yeah.
It's just hard to pronounce. Yeah, so first up is the 1988 horror anime film called Demon City Shinjuku. Synopsis. A young warrior must finish what his father started by battling his way through a city of demons and defeat a diabolical psychic who has opened a portal to hell. So this one right here is it's a very, very basic story.
I just feel like they didn't explore the demons idea that much. I mean, there's a couple creatures, but it's not fully fleshed out like the 2 later films that we're going to talk about. I just feel like you said, it's very basic, and they had this idea of having this town of demons being run over by demons, and I don't really feel like they show that many cool demons. I mean, there's a couple, but
I think that they're trying to expand the demon city. So if he would have succeeded, there would have been more demons.
Yeah, that's
exactly. They mentioned he only has a group of 3 villains.
Yeah,
and I'm a sucker for villain teams, and all 3 of these movies are full of villain teams with special powers. Yeah, it's just like X-rated X-Men. I kind of love it.
Yeah, so Shinjuku is kind of like on the outskirts of Tokyo, and basically, yeah, he only has a few demons in there, and that's why he kind of resurrects 10 years later, and his goal is to fully take over Shinjuku, which would turn into, you know, Demon City, which is kind of Demon City right now, but it's in shambles. He wants
to like expand to like everywhere, I think.
Yeah, so, you know, and of course, the backstory with this is that you know, we get a little bit of story. That's the thing with this movie. There's not really a lot of development within, you know, characters and backstory, but they do give you a little bit in the beginning where our hero of our film here, his father, actually has a battle with the demon. What's his name?
I don't even know.
I don't really know.
Rebbe Ra.
He's like a sorceress, right? Or something like that.
So Rebbe Ra is the main demon villain in this movie, and basically what he did in the backstory is he actually kind of sold his soul to the evil forces, kind of hell, to gain powers to beat you know, this kid's father in a fight and stuff like that.
Trained with him, so they had a history.
Yeah, so they had a history, but, you know, he felt like the father was, you know, he had really good powers and stuff like that, but he needed more. So he sold his soul to become kind of like this head demon and stuff. Anyways, he ends up killing the father and kind of succeeding in what he needed to do. So 10 years later, his son now doesn't know that it's his destiny, and, you know, he has to rise up and fight against Rebbe Ra to make sure that the portal doesn't get fully opened and it expands into, you know, fucking full-blown
his
Demon
father's
City.
name.
But wasn't it funny when, like, they were like, your father's dead? He's like, oh, is he?
Yeah, that's what.
I feel like his father's been gone for 10 years, so he was like, yeah, I wrote that guy off a long time ago.
Right? I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, dude, you're old enough to go fight against this, like, this demon, or this devil demon or whatever, and you don't, like, that whole thing with his father was bizarre. I'm like, dude, you're like, what, 20 years old? You would have been old enough to remember your father? And he's like, my father died? What the fuck? It was so weird to me, man. I thought the same thing. But I'm
the whole plot, it matches Ninja Scroll too, where it's like this old guy who's like, well, I have to protect the president, and he's in this, so you got to go, and then he ends up protecting the woman who's the president's son, daughter. What
exactly is he? Is he like a sorcerer that was just kind of like taken upon himself to protect the president? Because I know the daughter or the girl in the film or in the movie is the president's daughter, which comes to the son to.
Yeah, I think the old guy was the one who trained everybody, and he's like, he was protecting the president.
Okay, so anyways,
he trained everybody.
Yeah, so
the bad guy too. He trained the bad guy too.
Yeah, so she comes to Koya or whatever his name is, and then says, "Hey, you're the chosen one. This is your destiny," kind of thing, to protect our city. Which I do kind of like where they kind of go with the story of the city, because once Rebbe Ra kind of took it over and stuff, it became like this like literal hellhole, and everybody that was human in the city became like bad. Like everyone was just like junkies and thieves and shit, and everyone just did like shady shit and stuff.
I think people went there to become like criminals because they could get away with it.
Exactly, because the whole city was literally in shambles, right? So you could just kind of get away with that shit.
There's that real weird character who's just sticking around that's kind of like an anarchist that wants to. He doesn't even know. He's
about the Spanish guy. Well, I watched the dub, and he was Spanish on the dub, so.
Yeah. I watched the Japanese version.
Yeah, no, I watched. This one was subtitled for myself, too, so.
Yeah, I watched what was on Prime. It was the dubbed version, so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I had the download, whatever the fuck it was, but.
I try to prefer the
Me too.
I like them in Japanese, usually.
Yeah,
you know, with animes, I found it doesn't really bother me, and like honestly, with a regular film, like I'll watch the native language every single time over dub, unless it's a Godzilla film, because the dubs always kill me. They're so much fucking fun.
I actually do like Godzilla 1985 better than Return of Godzilla.
Me too, man. But with these ones, you know, it doesn't really matter to me, man. The dubs or whatever, because I mean, the first time I seen Ninja Scroll was in English, and I've always watched in English just because that's the way I originally saw it. You know. So the English dub doesn't really bother me, but with Demon City, again, you know, it was in Japanese, didn't really bother me. But
well, they just add there's a lot of fucks that I've read that was just added from the English that wasn't in the Japanese, and the English dub they say fuck a lot of the time.
So it's just you,
pretty much.
That's fucking hilarious.
Pretty good.
Yeah, because I don't remember any swearing in this movie, to be honest. But
yeah, there's no. I mean, like I guess I probably would be cussing a lot too if I saw that scorpion monster.
Right.
The most terrifying creature in the whole all three of the movies was that scorpion dude. He was the most badass too.
Doesn't this movie just play out like?
I like the dog werewolf in Blood Hunter D.
He was okay, but dude, this scorpion thing was horrifying. Shadow scorpion, and like he has the mouth on his stomach, and he can fucking go in shadows and eats everybody. That old lady. She's like, oh.
Yeah, the demons are cool, man. This movie plays out like a fucking video game to me, man. You know, you kind of get this backstory, and then you got to go and fight like these lesser demons
like
bosses.
Anime is like that.
Just to get to like the main to your
so
main
is the
boss,
Running Man, though.
Right?
So is the Running Man's a video game too, and so is Total Recall.
Yeah, I mean,
I gotta beat the guy in the drill.
There's so many, right? I mean, this movie has really great atmosphere, and actually the music in this is really good too. And I love this type of animation, like the late '80s kind of animated animation. It's fucking great, man. It just looks awesome. But I love the city. It kind of looks in shambles and shit. But the music is awesome. It sounds very. It almost has like this Italian synth to it, which I really enjoyed. Music was great.
I love the music too.
The one complaint I do have with this, it is what it is, man. There's a little bit of a love story again. I don't really care about that. I mean, there's a little bit of anime titties, which is cool. Sure, Jeremy.
Not like the last one.
Jeremy
Not like the next one.
Oh yeah. Ninja Scroll has that ridiculous rape scene.
I think the love story is best in Ninja Scroll. I think that one works the best.
Yeah. For sure. It's very. Yeah, we'll get to that. But
it's just not believable in the last one.
This one, oh man, this one right here, I'm just like, whatever, it is what it is. But the thing that bugs me about this movie is the fucking end battle is so short. Like, it just seems like he battled way harder and longer against like the lesser monsters and demons and
shit. The Scorpion was the toughest.
Yeah, and then it
always happens in the movies. The first bad guy is always the toughest.
Yeah, and then he fights Rebby Raw, and it's like, it was fucking over in like literally 10 seconds. I was like, what the
dad's sword?
I get it. And wasn't that like such a He-Man moment too? I was just waiting for him to say, I have the power!
Some of those samurai movies, they just have like one swipe. Like, it's just like a game of chess, and it's just like you move wrong and then you're done. And like, it's just that expertise.
It's just.
But I feel like every final battle in all three of these movies are like that. Where it's just like,
I just find it so ironic. Like, this guy's so removed from his father, didn't even know he was died and shit, and then it's like he just gets this power from it. It's like, you shouldn't even be allowed to have that power, motherfucker. You didn't even have any respect for your dad. Didn't even know he was dead.
Scroll, actually, I think the last battle's the toughest.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah. But, I don't know, man. I don't really know what else to say about it, to be honest.
I mean, I really like this one. This is probably one of my favorites of the bunch.
It's fun. It's a very basic premise type thing. It's literally just fight monsters.
My favorite of the three.
Kill the big demon. I mean, it's kind of a turn your brain off type thing, because you know what I like about this movie though too. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It runs like 80 minutes. It gets to the point, and it's just
note,
done.
Movies. Take note.
It does what it needs to do. It just runs a perfect length in my opinion. But yeah, the music, it really kept me in, and I was like, yeah, this is fucking groovy, man. I'm like thinking Italian kind of influence to it and shit. And it's awesome.
We got that snake lady too. There's always like a tentacle person or snake villain in all these movies. And then there's like the shadow character too in all these movies. Like there's the one in this one that goes in the water, and then the next one we have the shadow guy, and then the last one we have the other shadow guy. There's always like and then the first one has
the lady who blends into
tentacles is a big part of Japanese culture, like that type of shit. So you're always going to see that type of shit in these movies, man.
Yeah, for sure. I like it though.
Yeah, it is good.
It gets me hard. What?
Gets you hard?
What'd you say, Jeremy? Get you? You're sick.
I didn't say anything, bro.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, I've said enough retarded things last week to last me a lifetime, so I'm gonna not say that many retarded things today. So
this one definitely wasn't the goriest out of. I mean, Ninja Scroll probably takes that cake, but
or blood, whatever, is not that bloody either.
Yeah, surprisingly, it isn't, man. Considering how many. There's a lot of battles in that film. You think it would be, but this one has a couple moments, with blood, but it's not like Ninja Scroll. Ninja Scroll, I think, from top to bottom is just like, it's gory and it's got crazy shit all over the place. But there's one really cool scene in this film where he kind of gets sucked down into this like underwater world type thing.
That's awesome.
That's that fucking great scene, man. I thought that was really cool. So,
did you guys like the little kid on the fucking like rope?
Yes. Was he like? He's my favorite character. You remind me of JP.
Why?
I don't know, because he was a fucking scumbag.
He was like a little hood?
Yeah, he was a little hood and a little scumbaggy-ish.
Was he like... He's like, is it though?
Yes, it though, yeah.
Is it, though?
I like when you watch these movies, you see like these just oddball, I mean, they're obviously normal to Japanese people and stuff in their culture, but you get to see like all the little trinkets and like weird shit that they, I'm sure it's not exactly to reality and stuff, but with the money dispenser thing, when they put the money in and shit, I was like, what the fuck is that? It seemed very odd to me.
Well, it looked like a laser disc player.
It was just so weird the way they did that. And I was like, that's so Japanese. I love it. It's great. So, Yeah, man. That's what I got on Demon City Shinjuku.
Ratings?
Dave, you can go.
8.5 as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in at 8 out of 10 on this one. I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. It's just kind of no nonsense. It's great.
I'm in at a 7.
Cool, man. Yeah, I was thinking, I wasn't really sure where we were going to all line up on this, but that's interesting.
We're all the same.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, right. Cool. All right, so that is Demon City Shinjuku from 1988.
What's your destination, stranger?
No place in particular.
I'm looking for someone, and you look exactly like him.
I'm a vagabond named Jubei Kibagami.
Die!
All right, moving into the 90s, specifically 1993 with Ninja Scroll. This was actually the very first anime film I'd ever seen before. I saw it probably in the mid-90s, 95, 96, I want to say, VHS. My buddy was really into this type of stuff, and he showed it to me, and I was like, oh, that's really fucking cool. I was actually kind of taken back by it, by some of the scenes and some of the gore and shit. I was like, fuck, are all animes like this? Sign me up. Never watched anymore.
That's the thing is, like, every anime I watched, I'm like, that was great. I loved it. And then, like, I go to watch something, it's like, should I watch an anime? It's like, nah, I'm just going to watch this Zombie 4 again.
Right? I'm the same way. Oh, I caught a glimpse of Fulcia. I guess I'll just throw in Don't Torture Little Dog, or Don't Torture Little Duckling.
Just watch the same shit over and over again. It's like,
yeah.
I wonder if Eternal Link Down's still the best movie I've ever seen.
Directed, of course, by Yoshiaki Kawajiri.
You can do it.
I can't do it, man. I give my
best.
Just
dub in a robotic voice every time you have to say a name that's really hard, so it'll just be like directed by.
Yeah, I should just. I should
Japanese.
I should literally get Derek to just send me a clip of him pronouncing Japanese. He's really good at pronouncing fucking Japanese names, man. I don't know how he does it. He just has
and Don and Nelly just fucking know how to pronounce everything.
Maybe I'll actually get Derek to do that. I'll be like, Derek, can you just send me a clip of you saying the director's name, and I'm going to insert it into the show.
And then like let him talk for like 30 seconds of like interesting facts about the director. Like he actually directed, and then just like cut him off in the middle. Awkward as fuck. Like let him say the name, and then like he'll be like, which is interesting because he directed, and then just cut him off.
He directed this movie, which also had this actor in it who was in this movie.
And
so people are like never get to hear the rest of the fact, and they're annoyed.
Yeah. And here's Derek with a foreword about the director, and he goes into it and he just cut him off.
Just says his name, and then you cut him off.
That's a really good idea. Fuck. All right, so Ninja Scroll from 1993. Synopsis. A vagabond swordsman is aided by a beautiful ninja girl and a crafty spy in confronting a demonic clan of killers. With a ghost from his past as their leader, who are bent on overthrowing, the Tokugawa shogunate. Okay, so that's where... For all the times I've seen Ninja Scroll, man, there's so many names and so many clans and so many things I just can never remember. I know what I'm talking about, and I know what I'm watching, but I can't remember the fucking names because I probably can't pronounce them. I'm so bad with it. I'm just like, yeah, this person, he had a sword, and he was
rock guy and bomb woman and blind guy. So I'm like the rock guy, poison chick.
Yeah, pretty much. So basically, the film opens up with this pretty crazy scene. Actually, this crew of swordsmen, I guess they get info that there's something going down in this, I want to say village or town?
Yeah, there's like a pandemic going on or some virus getting spread in this village.
Yeah, so they go there to investigate to see what's actually really going on, if it's a plague or people are killing, whatever. So anyways, they're on their way there, and of course the people that are coming from there end up slaughtering all these samurais, all these ninjas and stuff, and they all die in like horrific, bloody ways. It's pretty awesome. And of course, this one
gets his arms ripped off,
right? Yeah. And there was a girl with this clan, and anyway, she ends up surviving it, but she gets abducted by one of the bad guys. I'll just say the bad guys.
There's like 8 of them. They said the 8 and stuff because they make a joke about it. They're like, "Oh, there's only 8. They're not going to stand a chance for us." It's like you literally just got killed by 1.
Yeah. And then he put his massive rock right inside of her.
Yeah, these guys are.
He just licked her.
essentially responsible for what happened there and stuff. But anyways, they abduct this girl, and there's this like ridiculous scene in the film where, he abducts her. Of course, what's he gonna do? He's gonna fucking rape her.
He's a golem guy.
It's just it's such a crazy scene. So anyways, he's like, this chick's like tits hanging out and stuff, and he starts like fucking banging her with his tongue and her pussy and shit. It's ridiculous. So in steps our protagonist, our hero here. He ends up saving her, or kills the demon, saves her and shit like that. And so that's all good and stuff, and kind of goes their separate ways. And I would essentially say he was kind of attacked a little bit by this, I guess you call him this government type of spy or whatever. And he almost essentially kind of blackmails him into helping him out. So what he does is he infects him with this incurable type.
Escape from New York.
Yeah, this disease where it forces him into helping him, and he tells him, he's like, well, he basically poisons him with this ninja star or whatever, and he tells him, he's like, well, if you help me, do this mission, complete this mission, I will give you the antidote and you will live.
And money.
So he really has no chance, so no choice. So with this girl, he goes with this government spy who's investigating what's going on and things like that. There's more to the story. There's actually a lot of narrative, a lot of plot in this movie. Anyways, so it turns into a video game. He's got to fight off all these demons and, kind of save the day, which is kind of cool because it doesn't go straight forward, because there is a whole narrative with this 8 demon clan and stuff. And then they've got an agenda of their own and things like that. And it's kind of cool, man, where it goes.
Yeah, because they want to overthrow the government by stealing a ship full of gold coins. And they think that if they have those gold coins, they'll have enough money to overrun the government and take over the country.
Yeah, they're basically just fucking over the people that they were working for, because essentially they were bringing this other crew all this gold for just kind of essential, like a partnership, like a, just a deal with them, protection and stuff like that. But they decided, hey, fuck, we can do this shit ourselves. And, shit goes down in the end and stuff. It's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. But
it's a lot of convoluted side storylines with characters betraying each other and the 3 people having to work together to stop them, and a past with the main villain that the main hero has and stuff. So it all comes together pretty well.
Yeah, I kind of like that whole idea about, how this demon from his past was somebody that he'd actually worked with before and things like that. I mean, it kind of makes sense why it's kind of like a double-edged too. It's like double-edged sword. I mean, essentially, it's kind of funny because this government spy, if he hadn't, done things the way he did, go ahead and poison our protagonist, he probably could have just talked him into it because of who he was going to be battling anyways. Right?
Well, it all plays into like the story with the poison woman too.
Sucking out the poison, yeah.
Did you notice that, I just noticed this for the first time, the main bad guy in this is just the Kurgan from Highlander. He has his head stitched together and everything, and he's immortal. And then also the poison, he just poisons the guy just like Escape from New York.
Right.
And it has to do the mission. It's like literally a lot of these movies are like that. They're just like, this is just a bunch of movies you like, and it's crazy.
This is like fucking Escape from New York meets like a Shakespeare fucking tragedy kind of thing, right? It's essentially kind of what it is, man, at the heart of it.
The bad guys are fantastic. Again, all of them.
Man,
the B guy.
The 8 demons, the 8 demon crew, whatever they're called. I'm sure people that know this movie or can remember the names know all their fucking names, which I'm not even going to bother. We're just going to say good guy, bad guy, guy with sword, and girl.
Girl who has snake come out of her vagina.
Yep.
Yep. It happens. I saw it.
Yeah, man, you can always count on shit like that in these movies, though. There's always weird tentacles, and there's always shit in vaginas, and it's weird. Yeah. It's definitely something that is an ongoing thing, but I dig it, man.
He's the scariest to me. He's horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning, they do the same thing. They have the scariest guy, the one they fight first.
Right? Why? I don't know why that is.
Because they got to test them. I don't know. After the first fight of both of these movies, I was like, these guys can't beat 8 more of these guys or 7 more of these guys. They don't stand a chance. And then they're all like weaker.
Well, there's so much build up to the end of this movie, and then the end battle in this one's not very long either.
But it's pretty.
Yeah, but at least there's
he's
like
impossible to kill.
People. There's like a shitload of like bad guys coming at him at once.
Well, of course, because it's like a huge demonic clan. I mean, there's lots of them, so it makes sense. But
I don't know. The way this dude bites it at the end is fucking fantastic. It's just like, that's glorious.
It is good.
It's so metaphorical too. It's just so on the nose.
Right.
The sword going through his head, splitting his head.
Yeah.
Well, just the gold. And the
gold,
the melting gold and everything, and melting for your greed and all that shit. And
I was just surprised, like how adult this one was. Like it's pretty adult oriented.
Well, dude, it's
bloody,
it's violent, it's bloody, it's got tits, it's got rape. Yeah, it's got everything.
A lot of plot.
Yeah, which makes a lot more sense for an adult, because imagine being like a 10-year-old kid watching this, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
I think if your parents walked in, they would have turned it off pretty quick.
Right. I mean, there's no way that the 10-year-old kid is keeping track of the characters. Shit, man, we're old and we still can't even do it.
I mean, I know all the characters. I just can't tell you their names.
That's what I'm saying. I meant keep track of the actual names. I couldn't.
I mean, if I would have seen this 5 or 6 times, yeah, but this is the first time I've seen it.
I've seen this movie a few times, but it's been so far in between watches, right? That, you know, every time I watch it, it feels like it's like a first time watch. Actually, I watched this movie not too long ago, so I was a little better with it and stuff, with the names, but shit, 20 minutes after watching, I'm like, what was that character's name again? Fuck it. I don't care. Doesn't matter.
Asian guy.
Yeah, Asian guy. Guy with sword. Fucking demon.
Rock guy. I'm telling you, they're all just like Mega Man villains. That's Rockman and Bomb Girl.
I love them. It's so true.
Blind Man.
Iceman. Fuck. It's so funny.
Light Man.
Oh, man. Yeah, we've come to the conclusion that reviewing animes is actually quite hard.
Yeah, because it's like how much
knowledge.
And like how much hidden message themes are there in this, and any of these. It's like they're pretty all straightforward with, you know, you just watch them and you shut your brain off. And I bet you there's some themes about Japanese culture and other bullshit, but I don't know any of that crap. So
I'm sure
there's the interesting thing with the poison and the woman giving herself up and all that kind of stuff is really weird, and it also probably is very dated, you know.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "Let us fuck."
That's tragic. It is like a tragic, like you said, Shakespeare too.
Well, that's how I perceived it, right? With him, you know, being forced to kind of do this thing, and then what it comes down to get the antidote and stuff, and you know, her possibly dying. You know, it just comes off as kind of a Shakespeare tragedy to me a little bit. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but I've just studied enough Shakespeare in my life that it's just the first thing I thought of. So I wasn't trying to dig too deep into, you know, what's the commentaries and what certain things were going on here, because let's face it, we're watching an anime. I'm here for the blood, and apparently the
I mean, they are deep. Like, I mean, there's points in this when I actually do get like kind of sad.
Oh, for sure. No, this one definitely
I'm emotionally impacted. I'm invested the entire time too. Yeah. I've watched a lot of movies that aren't animated where I'm like, I don't give a fuck about this. Like, like I said, porno. I was like, I don't give a fuck about anything happening here. And then all these, I'm like, I'm in.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you take a look at, I mean, I'm sure there's stuff in Demon City, Shinjuku also. I mean, who knows? It could be a reflection of, you know, what the Japanese went through with Hiroshima and things like that. Who knows? It could be things like that. I don't really know exactly what he's going for there.
But
there
suited enough in it to
do right. It. There is definitely, there's contrast to what we know in reality that could be representative of what we're seeing there, for sure. I mean, the first thing I think of is Hiroshima every time I think of, you know, when I see that city in shambles and stuff like that. But I don't know. But yeah, Ninja Scroll, man, is phenomenal to me, man. I really love this movie. I think it's got so much great narrative to it. It's got a lot of great characters, a lot of great fights. It's one of those movies that you do get invested in your lead because, you know, it's that whole tragic type narrative to it, right? And it's interesting where it goes and shit, and how it goes down and stuff. And I just think it's great, man. The animation is really good. Again, I mean, I like older animation. I'm a big fan of older animation. I always have said that.
Me too.
This stuff just kind of does it for me. But it's very atmospheric. It's got a lot of great, like horrific type scenes. It's very dark but you know, if you're going into this just thinking it's going to be straightforward and stuff, you got to sit there and pay attention because there's a lot of there's a lot of moving parts. A lot of moving parts in this. It's actually quite, like Jeremy said, very adult. It is very, very adult oriented. It's definitely not for kids. It does have rape. It has tits. It has just a whole pile of nastiness in this one. But it has everything that I really, really enjoy. I've said it before. This is definitely my favorite anime that I've seen so far. For me, it's a 10 out of 10. So I love Ninja Scroll.
10 out of 10.
I love it. It's great.
I'm at an 8.5.
I'm at the same as Jeremy. I'm somewhere around there. Also, I like I said, the bad guys are all great. They're all highly memorable in this one.
Yeah.
Even like the right-hand man with the electric stuff, he's great too.
I think this one goes up for me every time. I mean, I can't really go up any further than 10 right now, but it's the one I've seen the most and the one I kind of resonate to and the most. It's just a great one. It really is.
Misses the Hall of Fame by a point.
Oh, really? If I watched it again, it would go up. I'm sure.
I think I've reviewed this.
City.
I'm pretty sure I reviewed this on the show before. Maybe I did it on What We Watched. I can't remember if someone gave it to me or not. I'm assuming they did. Oh, maybe I was supposed to review. I don't remember the whole story with it, but anyways, that is Ninja Scroll from 1993.
In the dark world of tomorrow, when vampires rule the night, from the darkest depths of hell, the ultimate form of evil awakens.
Moving into 2000 with the sequel of a film that we have actually reviewed before. I think this was on the first anime one, which was Vampire Hunter D. So this is from 2000, Vampire Hunter D, Bloodlust. It's a sequel in name, really only. It doesn't have anything to do with the first one.
Well, the main character is the same.
Well,
it's got the parasite still and everything.
Yeah.
I've seen this one before.
No.
Actually.
I mean, well, of course, Vampire Hunter D I'm just saying it doesn't have anything to do with the first one narrative-wise. It does, of course, have the same character, which wouldn't make any sense if it didn't, because it's Vampire Hunter D. Right? So, anyways, quick synopsis. When a girl is abducted by a vampire, a legendary bounty hunter is hired to bring her back. Ooh, that sounds complicated.
For $20 million.
It sounds complicated. Well, yeah, so this movie, it takes place like it's supposed to take place like 1,000 years in the future kind of thing from whenever your present is. It doesn't matter. It's very much kind of like the first one in kind of setting. It feels like it is a Western. Totally feels like Western time.
Medieval Western weird mixture thing.
Yeah, medieval Western with like magic and,
like He-Man or something.
Yeah, vampires and just creatures and demons. It's got kind of everything in there, but it has humans though too. Yep. So Vampire Hunter D he's basically a cross between he's a human / half vampire, and he's a hunter. He hunts vampires and stuff because he doesn't resonate towards the vampire type thing. If you're familiar with the first one, you know exactly what D is. In this one, yes, a girl is abducted in the beginning of the film. He is approached by. Is he approached by the? Is he approached
brother.
by? Is it the brother that comes to him?
Father,
yeah.
I think it's the brother that hires him first, but then he wants more money, so the dad.
No, I think it was it the okay? I know the brother hired on the other crew
because he had a broken arm.
That's right. So yeah, whatever, the father brother, they offer him up like $10 million, and of course they had gone to this other group of bounty hunters too. Also, so they become competition. I kind of like that idea, where they become. They're competitive with each other, but at the same time, they're kind of forced to work with each other to defend against what's, all the demons and shit. I think it's kind of cool. But at the heart of this, it's essentially a love story. This girl is...
It's like a double love story.
It kind of is, man. It's kind of cool. I mean, there is some pretty interesting twists and turns, which I don't want to give away if you've never seen this movie. But anyways, we'll just leave it at that. Thoughts on the movie?
It's good.
I like it. This was
I liked it too.
Second time watch. I saw this when I was in like high school. My friends actually really liked it, which is kind of weird because they weren't really into anime. They just had this one, so we watched it a bunch. Always enjoyed it. I like the monsters and the part where they go in that like underground kind of haven, like the Nightbreed Haven, or like, Midian or whatever you call it.
The town that they go in.
The Midian, where the monsters are hidden, and they're hiding out there. That's really awesome to see all the different monsters and the little characters, and I just enjoy it.
I think the stuff at the end with the castle is pretty cool too. It's like very grand and.
Yeah, and it was cool to see Carmilla as the villain. She was about in the first novelization of a vampire or something. I don't know if vampire or Carmilla or Dracula. They all
I like what Carmilla turns out to be in this. I kind of like that twist in the plot and shit. That's actually really cool.
But she's actually not her physical form yet. She's trying to revive it. She's still that powerful.
She's actually a ghost, and that's kind of the whole point. Is brings in this girl, and she's trying to use her to kind of resurrect her body and stuff like that.
That was a nice little twist there. But the bad guys again are real cool. The snake, like chameleon lady, and the shadow guy, and the werewolf man. They're all cool.
Yeah, I like the other set of bounty hunters too. I thought they were they're probably the most likable characters out of all three of these movies. I don't know. I just like
I didn't like any of them.
It's kind
They're
of
all suckers.
Well, two of them are like strictly brothers, and they're kind of straightforward and stuff. And then they got the girl she's got a fucking chip on her shoulder because her backstory is that vampires killed her family, and now she's just destined to go and hunt, and she doesn't give a fuck about anything or anybody. She just wants to kill vampires. But then you got this
cool characters. I just don't think they're good people.
I just think, I mean, really, but you're a bounty hunter though. I mean, are you supposed to be a good person?
I think the spirit guy.
Not really, no.
No, because you're.
I think the spirit person's a good person.
I think he's in love with the woman.
Doesn't mean he's not a good person.
I don't know.
In love with what, the other bounty hunter? Part of his crew?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. What is the story with him anyways? Why is he, he's a psychic kind of thing, but he can project himself, and what
I think astral plane, it drains his body though, and it's hard on his body.
So he's just always kind of drained, right? He's kind of got to sit there until he revives himself, and then when he uses, he's just back to that state again. Okay. I was kind of like, holy shit, man, this guy's already incapacitated. I'm like, what the fuck happened to him?
But he's Jean Grey from the X-Men show,
right? Because he was just always
two
like
things,
that.
And then she passes out.
Yeah. That's funny.
They never really explain his backstory that much.
No,
I like the characters. I just don't like them. I like watching them, but they're I don't think they're likable. They're enjoyable to watch, though.
Yeah, I never really thought about it. The only one I didn't mind the two guys. The psychic dude was what it was. I mean, he was just incapacitated the whole time. It's kind of hard to either like him or dislike him. But the girl, she was just a straight up bitch, man. She's just straight up chip on her shoulder. Her interactions with D.
Looking.
Yeah. No, he's definitely the coolest, man.
I just thought the main guy was kind of an idiot. The one with the sideburns.
Yeah, I think that he's kind of supposed to be, but
yeah, he's a dum-dum.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's kind of interesting too, because there's one thing in this film. There's zombies in it too. At the beginning of the film, when Dee first comes across this, these clique of bounty hunters and stuff. These guys are basically teeing off on zombies and shit. I thought that was kind of interesting, but they don't
brain dead vampires.
Yeah, brain dead vampires that are zombies and shit. Is very strange. But
they look like zombies. They're green and shit. So
I thought that was kind of cool. But of course, they don't really go into that anymore because it's not really the focal point of the film and stuff. But I thought that was kind of an interesting add-in just to have that in there. It's kind of set in this kind of strange world where you even have zombies and shit, which is interesting again because there is straight up humans in there too. But so actually one of my favorite scenes in this film is when Dee goes to buy the horse from
that's my favorite scene too.
That's a great scene, actually.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite scene in the film. And this old man, where he's buying it from, basically tells the story after these assholes come in and say that Dee can't buy the fucking horse, and he tells them the story and shit. It's fucking great, man. Really, really good.
They
stuff.
would all got killed anyways. He's lucky that old man did that. They're lucky.
Exactly.
They got wasted.
Yeah. But there's lots of really good scenes in this film, and I like the scene on the bridge. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, the whole kind of twist in this film I thought was really cool too, because the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, man, dude, this chick obviously wants to be there, and she did. That's kind of one of the weird things in this film, where she was abducted, but she wanted to be with this vampire and stuff like that. So they learn that very quickly, I guess, kind of, that she is not willing to go and be rescued. She wants to go. So that's kind of an interesting twist. But the thing with Carmel, I thought, was actually what saved this one big time for me. I thought that was really great to have in there. So
the ending's nice too. Reminds me of a spaghetti western with Clint Eastwood coming back at the funeral. Actually reminds me of the end of True Grit, the original, or probably both of them actually, with coming back to the funeral.
Yeah. I thought that was a little touch, and he just did it because he promised, not because he wanted anything from it.
Yeah. Did you guys? I felt like they were kind of playing up the vampire that actually abducted her. They were kind of playing him as a straight up sympathetic type vampire and shit, and almost too much. I was just like, dude, this guy's straight villain. He's a vampire, and they're playing him hardcore as a sympathetic character, and I'm like, this is me. I get a little bit up in arms about shit like that, but I mean, it didn't kill it for me. Again, the whole twists and turns in the end of the film really kind of heightened it for me. I thought it was great, but.
Again, they killed the toughest bad guy first.
Yeah, I would say
the shadow guy was tough as fuck. He killed a couple. He killed one of them.
Right?
Yeah, he killed the big guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He killed the biggest one.
I mean, that's what you go for. You got to only kill one, take out the,
Dude, I love the fact that these guys are traveling by like horse and buggy.
It's a weird world, you know what I mean? They have bombs that go off with their horse and buggy. Like I said, it's like a Master Universe something like that.
Because they have cars too.
Yeah,
so
it is a weird thing, but like, with vampires and like set in this world and shit, you think they would have certain powers where they wouldn't have to travel as slow as with horse and buggies.
Well, he can't get out of the thing. He can't fly because it's night, I mean, it's during the day, so he's got to travel somehow.
Oh, no, of course. But you think that they could, come up with an idea where they have like maybe flying caskets or something.
you think like he would just get in the water and swim under the water the whole time or something. I don't fucking know what he's going to do.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's actually really, like, I was going back to the bridge scene where he gets out of there and he's fucking just getting burnt up and shit. And that scene's crazy, man. That's kind of cool.
I thought it was a little lackluster what happened to the wolf guy. Like, they show that thing, and then it just cuts to him, and you're like...
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
There should have been something there. Maybe a little bit more. But I mean... And then I think the movie runs a little bit long. After we watched the first two, they're like 80 minutes. This one's a little too long, I think, compared.
It was something I was going to say, too, because there is moments in this movie where it does kind of drag. Like, there's really nothing happening for long bits, and, and I'm just like, dude... And then I look at the running time, and I'm like, holy shit, it's over 100 minutes. Crazy. So, yeah, makes more sense.
Like the scene where she buries some in the dirt, and like, I guess it's some kind of character development because it shows that she has some sort of moral feelings, but shit like that you probably could have cut out, to be honest.
I don't know. It kind of leads into the end of the film, too, where Dee, it's like years later, and he runs into her granddaughter and shit like that.
I guess so.
It kind of makes... I actually really kind of like the end of the movie. It kind of puts a nice little setup on it.
Yeah.
It's a little touching.
Yeah. Which I kind of wasn't expecting. I mean, it really didn't have to do that, but it was a nice little touch. So, but comparatively, Vampire Hunter D versus this one, I do like the first one a lot better than this one.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's not as violent as the first one, and it's not as... I don't think it has as cool of atmosphere as the first one does. But.
Yeah, there's a lot of better things about the first one. And me, I mean, I'm just... The whole love stories and things aren't really my thing. This one comes off a little bit too touching and stuff, but, to say that I don't hate it either, at all. It's still... No. It's very entertaining. There's a lot of cool stuff in there, and honestly, again, these animes, they all seem to be kind of hits for me, so... But comparatively, I do like the first one better, so...
Yeah, the pace is much better in the first one.
Way better.
Action, it never stops once it starts.
Way better constructed for sure. But I would say, the narrative in this one's probably a little bit more, complex and better, I would say.
Yeah.
In the first one, but yeah, as for visuals and action and stuff, yeah, first one all day. But do you guys have anything else on it?
Not really.
I think it is kind of like hokey, like when the lightning strikes the knife. I was like, what? Is there any particular reason why I know it's the highest metal point, but is that what they were going for, really?
Yeah.
Is that this one? Yeah, that's this one.
Yeah, it is this one.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can't complain about that when a world...
It's fucking anime.
Yeah. But it still kind of struck me where I was like, what? What happened there? Why did it explode?
Yeah. Right. All right, well, Jeremy, ratings.
8 out of 10.
Dave.
I was at 7.5 or 8, somewhere around there. I guess go 8.
All right, I'm in at 7, so I knew I'd probably be the lowest on this one. It's good, but not my favorite.
They're all good.
The first one I got it at 9. One I got it at 9. So.
I'm not complaining about any of these. These are, to watch these all back to back kind of thing is great. Well, I didn't. I watched Demon City and then Ninja Scroll one night, and then I watched Vampire. I always watch my movies in order of reviewing them.
Me too.
So I watch Vampire Hunter D, and then I watch Reflecting Skin.
I think I got all 4 of these movies done in 2 days. They're very easy.
Actually, technically, I mean to watch Reflecting Skin last, but even though we're reviewing it first, but it's just kind of, I do the main reviews first. I always do the bonus one last, but I'm weird like that. But yeah, so that is
shortest episode ever.
It's been pretty short, hasn't it?
Still 3 hour and 18 minute phone call.
Yeah, it's still over 3 hours. But yeah, that's going to conclude episode 190, the Yoshiaki Kawajiri.
Just put in Derek.
I'm gonna totally splice in Derek right there. Oh,
yeah,
man.
like it's like the voice completely changes.
Awesome. Yeah, it was a fun episode, man. I'm glad that we got to talk about the reflecting skin. Good stuff. Getting into these, these anime films, as long as they keep coming in good, I'm gonna keep checking them out. I guess I have no choice really to keep coming in, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's gonna do it for this episode. You guys have any last words before Jeremy does the outro?
No.
I guess we already said what's coming up next week and stuff, so we don't have to say that. So we might as well just get into the intro. Or the outro. The intro, fuck.
We'll be doing the show intro.
If JP was here, we'd still be doing the intro, so...
We'd be on news still. He'd be like, I really wonder if Matthew Lillard came back to the Scream franchise. And all of us are like, we don't give a fuck about Scream.
More Scream news.
Hey, like, interesting.
Oh, could you imagine? Breaking
news, guys. We just got more Scream news for the 8th time.
Nev Campbell ordered a piece of cheesecake on the set of Scream 4, and she said she'd like another one on the set of Scream 5.
Actually, you know what? I think the chick that was leading in the movie I just watched, The Beach House, is actually in the new Scream movie, which is odd. I think I was just looking at her.
Breaking news.
That's breaking fucking news right there, man. So she's fucking cute, though. She's really cute. But anyways, Jeremy.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to episode 190 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror Podcast. So if you want to follow the man Moods himself, you can do so at moods.com/ ooh, wow, I just did it backwards. youtube.com/moods616. Follow me on my channel, youtube.com/NESRoar22. Follow Dave over on his channel, youtube.com/Mistapaka. You can leave us a voicemail at 724-426-6665. Leave us a question at 22 Shots of Moods and Horror at gmail.com, twitter.com/22shotspodcast, facebook.com. Search bar 22 Shots of Moods and Horror Podcast. There is a poll going up pretty soon for this year's Halloween listener's choice. So if you guys want to vote on what movies we watch this year for our Halloween show,
Midnight Hour,
head over to facebook.com.
And Something Wicked This Way Comes.
I would go for some Casper.
Man, I love Casper.
All three of those would be good. That'd be easy.
I actually really like Casper, man. I even have the Blu-ray of that shit. It's hilarious.
And as always, please support the Patreon to get the sand sucked out of my vagina. Patreon.com/22 Shots Podcast. And that should do it, everybody, for episode 190 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror Podcast. We'll be back next week with episode number 191, where we'll be digging into King Kong 1933 versus King Kong 2005 with some feature reviews of a gay movie called Poison and Onababa. So that should do it. Bye.
Deuces.
Bye.
Time for a few fart jokes.
Man's got to know his limitations.
Well, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one.